Chapter 36:18 The cry of alarm from the celestial essence sex patriarch made everyone jump. They immediately gathered their forces to reinforce the celestial essence domain. Currently, within the entire All-Devil star field, they only had the heavenly dragon domain, the celestial essence domain, and the magnificent heaven domain. All three of them had powerful formations protecting them. They were also linked by transportation formations so that people could easily move between them. The spatial channels between the three great domains were held in the hands of Shui Yifan, the celestial essence sex patriarch, and another half-step divine venerate. That was their lifeline. Other than the three of them, no one else could get close to those three major transportation formations. That was to prevent the All-Devil race from destroying them. The celestial essence domain was now under attack. Furthermore, the distress signal was already red. That meant that it was such a fierce attack that the formation was in danger of being destroyed. The patriarch and the others quickly went through the transportation formation to reinforce the celestial essence domain. But when they arrived, they found no enemy army at all. The patriarch was infuriated. He roared, "Who lied about the situation and set off an alarm? Get out here." "Patriarch, it wasn't a lie. A powerful army did come. Look, the barrier is riddled with holes that are still slowly repairing," reported one elder sincerely. Looking over, the patriarch saw that the formation was at full power, and there were hundreds of giant holes in the barrier that were still in the midst of closing. To break through this formation, most likely only the Qingying battleship is capable of it. These horrifying holes made people gasp. That is what happened. The Luo clan mobilized 7 of their Qingying battleships at once. Adding on tens of thousands of other battleships and various devil beasts that covered the sky and the earth, their frontal assault instantly pierced through the formation, reported the elder nervously. The celestial essence domain's experts were all pale with lingering fear. That had truly been a terrifying experience just now. They had all thought that they were doomed. "Then where are they?" asked the patriarch. "They only attacked for a moment and suddenly left." "We don't know what they're doing either," answered the elder, just as lost. "Not good. Are they trying to lure us away? Is their target the magnificent heaven domain?" A half-step divine venerate's expression changed. Just then, someone's tablet began to flash, making everyone jump. But then they saw that it was Shui Yifan's tablet. Their target is the heavenly dragon domain? No, this isn't an alarm. It's a projection mechanism. Shui Yifan hastily waved his hand, indicating to not be so nervous. Shui Yifan took his jade tablet off of his waist and placed it in midair. Forming hand seals, it suddenly unleashed divine light, forming a giant mirror in the sky. People then saw countless figures overflowing with explosive killing intent. The sound of a slaughter rang out. This is the Starry River Legion. Long Chen and the others were transported away to a large mountain range. This mountain range was made of stone with giant cliffs piercing the clouds. Every mountain had large caves from which battleships came out. This was the Luo clan's headquarters. It was also a treasured land of excellent feng shui that the All-Devil race provided them. There were all kinds of ores underground. Those ores could be refined into immortal metals used for forging battle armors and divine weapons. It could be said that the Luo clan had an endless supply of resources here. That was why the Luo clan's people and the people that had surrendered to the Luo clan were one level better equipped than the Heavenly Dragon Divine Armor College and the other powers. It was thanks to this land of wealth that the Luo clan managed to secretly forge so many powerful battleships and battle armors in just a few short centuries. It was this land that caused countless people to despair and join the Luo clan's side. This was the secret base of the Luo clan. But today, Long Chen was directly transported here along with 100,000 Starry River warriors. Long Chen and the others had just arrived when the formations here sensed their auras. All the formations activated, causing a barrier to pop up throughout the mountains. It happened instantaneously. Following that, an ear-piercing alarm rang out. Countless experts came flying out of the caves. Long Chen directly struck the barrier with his black dagger. With a single cut, this formation that could even stop battleships had a giant hole cut into it. Kill these traitors that harm their own race. Long Chen put away the dagger and took out the Minghong saber. He then unleashed a slash. Boom. This opening that could only fit a few people at a time instantly blew up. With an opening dozens of miles wide, Guoran and the others charged through. I swept through the 4 seas, cross-dash. Shut up. Get killing. Long Chen kicked Guoran before he could finish. Guoran wasn't even done chanting before he was kicked into the enemy army. This fellow didn't care about the situation when it came to showing off. Enemy attack. The Luo clan's experts cried out. In his battle armor, Guoran swept through his enemies. His voice was like thunder. All of you remember my name. I am Guoran. I am cleaning the human race of its trash. When you meet the Yama King, make sure to report my name. Traitors were the most hateful existence, and they were even more hateful than the actual enemies. The people here were working hard on creating battle armors and divine weapons, tools that killed their fellow humans. Kill all of them. The 100,000 Starry River warriors were like tigers unleashed on a flock of sheep. Even if their battle armors and divine weapons were inferior to the other side, with the support of the Starry River manifestation, these people were easily cut down. Most importantly, the people here were not the main fighters. The true warriors had been dispatched by the Luo clan to attack the Celestial Essence domain. Hence, the Starry River warriors killed them as easily as slaughtering chickens. With every slash of their weapons, blood flew and battle armors shattered. Even if the battle armors themselves could resist their attacks, the people inside were still killed by the impact. These people didn't even last a single breath's time before they began to flee and cry for their fathers and mothers. Some people even knelt on the ground and begged for mercy. But the Starry River warriors had no mercy. All they wanted was to kill them all. As for Long Chen, once he entered the barrier, the first thing he did was to break all the transportation formations. He then looked at the mountains, examining the terrain. It seemed that he was looking for a suitable place for him to slash his saber. Search Tinyo. com/2p9mv8w for the original. In only a dozen breaths' time, all the people outside were slain. There were still some people hiding within the caves, and the Starry River warriors directly entered to kill them. Boom. Suddenly, Long Chen's saber fell and a huge mountain was cleanly cut apart. From the opening that he made, it was possible to see many levels inside the mountain. On the bottom few levels, there were piles of battleships, sets of armor, weapons, immortal metals, ores, and other treasures. There were many incomplete battleships as well. When Guoran saw those treasures, his eyes instantly turned green with greed. Like a hungry wolf, he cried out, "We've struck gold." Chapter 36:19 Stop killing the traitors and gather all the treasures. You only have 10 breaths' time. You must be quick, shouted Long Chen. After giving that order, Long Chen took out formation discs. There were over 1,000 of them, and he placed them according to a certain arrangement. The grand formation was broken with a single attack. How can that be? That formation doesn't look weaker than our Celestial Essence Sect's grand formation at all. Heavens, they're attacking the military forging area of the Luo clan? How did they find it? The main thing is that even if they found it, how did they manage to transport themselves there like this? When they saw Long Chen and the others break through the formation and directly attack the Luo clan's forging land, everyone within the Celestial Essence domain was dumbfounded. I understand. The Luo clan suddenly retreated because they received a distress signal from there, exclaimed the patriarch of the Celestial Essence sect. Everyone nodded at that. They felt a wave of admiration for Long Chen. But how did Long Chen know that the Luo clan would suddenly attack? How did he grasp the timing so perfectly? Countless gazes looked at Shui Yifan, who then shook his head with a bitter smile. Don't look at me. I've left everything to Dean Long Chen. He doesn't need to discuss anything with me, so I don't know anything about it. All I know is that if you're going to use someone, don't doubt them, and if you doubt someone, don't use them. Since I've chosen to trust him, I trust him fully. Although I haven't done anything big in this lifetime, I have some confidence in my vision. I also feel great admiration for the High Firmament Academy's Dean Bailetin. If he can trust Long Chen, then there's no need for me to doubt him. Right now, I am just a spectator. I don't need to manage anything and can just enjoy the show. Hearing that, everyone was even more shocked. This far too brazen youngster's methods were truly astonishing. They fell silent and continued watching the Starry River warriors slaughter the traitors. While watching this, the resentment that had been accumulating within their hearts felt lighter. Heavens, there are so many treasures. When they saw Long Chen split apart the mountain, revealing all the treasures, everyone's eyes reddened. Even the likes of Shui Yifan, the Celestial Essence Sex Patriarch, and the other half-step divine venerates let out a silent sigh when they saw that. Standing at their height, they no longer felt much toward these items. But to other cultivators, this kind of allure was fatal. Back in the Hongying era, in the end, people lost to their greed. If the human race had really won, it was unknown if they would have turned against each other and slaughtered their fellow humans just for a better percentage of those resources. The elders exchanged glances and shook their heads. The human race might be able to defeat their fierce and powerful enemies, but most of the time, they lost to their greed. The 100,000 Starry River warriors collapsed on the treasury, sweeping all the treasures away. It was like they were licking it clean. Even the windows and door frames were torn off, let alone the doorposts and stairs. In any case, they were all made out of metal and were valuable, so these robbers didn't leave anything behind. Even Long Chen was dumbfounded. "Damn, your methods really are professional. I didn't teach you these things," said Long Chen. "Hee, we're just self-made geniuses. This is our natural talent," chortled one Starry River warrior with a pleased expression. "Everyone, get in the transportation formation. We're leaving." Long Chen directed everyone into the formation he had set up with the discs. "Boss, you really are a divine strategist. You prepared everything." Guoran and the others couldn't help prostrating themselves toward Long Chen when they saw him set up their escape route in the short time it took them to clean out the treasures. Divine strategist, my ass. This was all prepared by the Dean. Put away your armors. Don't let your auras fluctuate too badly, or it will affect the formation, ordered Long Chen. Just then they heard rumbling in the distance. Everyone was startled and hastily looked over. After that, Long Chen activated the formation, and over 1,000 formation discs lit up at the same time. The Starry River warriors were enveloped by 1,000 rays of divine light. Space then shuddered and all of them vanished, leaving behind only the fragments of the formation discs. Just as they vanished, the void rumbled and 7 Qingying battleships tore through the void. However, they were one step too late. They didn't even manage to get a look at the robbers' shadows. They only saw ruins. "Support us at our stronghold." An elder let out a heart-rending scream when he saw the wreckage that was once their powerful base. It had to be known that this stronghold was built with a huge amount of the Luo clan's blood and sweat. There were countless formations carved under the stronghold, costing a huge amount of manpower and financial resources. But this stronghold was now completely wrecked and the treasures were stolen. The Luo clan's battle armors and battleships no longer even had a place to be repaired when they were damaged. It had to be known that the All-Devil Starfield's battleships and battle armors constantly used up resources. After every large battle, many damaged components needed to be repaired. Even if they didn't need specific repairs, they had to be taken good care of to maintain peak combat power. With this stronghold destroyed, they had lost the place for the maintenance of their equipment. Once their battleships were damaged, they wouldn't be able to use them again. This meant that their battle potential would plummet the longer they fought. This move of Long Chen's had truly struck them where it hurt. The heavens are about to change. We're doomed. That elder of the Luo clan was as pale as a sheet of paper. He was terrified. "It's not that grave, is it? We still have 18 Qingying battleships, 100,000 offensive battleships, and 30,000 defensive battleships. We still have an overwhelming advantage," said another elder uncomprehendingly. Although this stronghold was destroyed, which was most definitely a shocking and alarming matter, he felt that the despair in that elder's eyes was overstating it. Even without this stronghold, they didn't have anything to fear. "What do you know?" The All-Devil race is only willing to let us mine the resources here because they want to defeat the human race effortlessly. They're using us while we are also using them. But now that we've lost this stronghold, we don't have any further supplies. We'll grow weaker and weaker. When we start fighting a direct battle against the human race, the All-Devil race will not hesitate to make their move. They might just wipe all of us out together. Raged the elder. The other elders sucked in a cold gasp of air. He hadn't thought that far. The only reason that the All-Devil race had chosen to cooperate with them was to defeat the human race without having to lift a finger. This was their agreement. The Luo clan would unify the All-Devil star field for the All-Devil race, and then all the resources here would belong to the Luo clan. However, the condition was that the All-Devil race would win without mobilizing a single fighter. They only left these devil beasts to the Luo clan to direct. If the Luo clan failed to accomplish their task, then their agreement would be void. After that, the All-Devil race would slaughter them as well, and it wouldn't count as breaking their oath. According to the All-Devil race's violent character, they really might just destroy them all. Then the All-Devil race would be the only winner. There would no longer be a human race in the All-Devil star field. The rest of the Luo clan's battleships only arrived at this time. Those battleships simply couldn't compare to the Qingying battleships. Suddenly, that elder's tablet began to flash rapidly. He jumped in terror. Not good. The headquarters is under attack. Chapter 36:20 At the center of the All-Devil Starfield was a giant city. It was the famous Hongying city. This was a symbol of the human race's past glory in the All-Devil Starfield. Back in the day when Xia Guhong and Luo Qingying still led the human race, they had forced their enemies all the way back here. At that time, the human race managed to take over just over half of the entire All-Devil Starfield's territory. It was due to this that the All-Devil Starfield's name was changed to the Hongying Starfield. That was one of the habits of the human race. When a certain power occupied over half the territory of a domain, that domain was named according to their race, sect, or family. However, the Hongying Starfield's name was only changed for a few centuries before it was changed back. The All-Devil race once more reclaimed huge swathes of territory. In the outside world, people also knew that it should be called the All-Devil Starfield. However, due to their respect for Xia Guhong and Luo Qingying, and due to their feelings of regret toward their sorrowful story, many people refused to change the name back and continued to call the All-Devil Starfield the Hongying Starfield. As for Hongying City, it was once a symbol of glory but had now become the headquarters for the Luo clan. It was now a breeding ground for traitors who killed their fellow humans. The city was still the same, but the people were different. The people in this glorious city were no longer thinking about protecting their family or race. Instead, they spent all day strategizing over how to destroy their own race. The signboard on the gates of Hongying City still remained, but now it was covered in layers of moss. The once glorious golden characters were now covered. It was like they had closed their eyes, unwilling to watch the human race's filthy side. Right now, the grand formation of the city was already activated, and countless battleships were coming and going. There were millions of armored soldiers standing guard. As soon as the forging base sent out a distress signal, the level of security here was raised to the maximum. All of a sudden, the void quivered and a black figure dived down from the sky like a divine bird, directly striking the barrier. Boom. It can be hard to make great work when it's stolen from. Calm. The barrier was instantly pierced through, and that black figure dove right into Hongying City. World Extermination Flame Lotus. No one had even grasped what was going on before a flame lotus exploded amongst them. Flames then soared into the heavens, and countless soldiers and battleships were sent flying by a wave of flames. It happened so suddenly that no one had any chance to react. Their gazes had been locked onto the distant horizon in search of oncoming battleships. They hadn't expected someone to directly appear here. Long Chen unleashed the World Extermination Flame Lotus as soon as he appeared, turning this place into a chaotic battlefield. The 100,000 Starry River warriors then followed him down from the heavens, entering through the opening that he had made. "Destroy the battleships first," Long Chen shouted as he shot toward the strongest opponents, the Qingying battleships. The Qingying battleship's unrivaled formations, runes, and defensive structures were all unable to stop a single blow from the Black Dagger. It was like there was nothing in this world that could stop it. 11 Qingying battleships were pierced through. This time, Long Chen didn't attack randomly. The dagger only passed through the core at the front of the Qingying battleships, making them unable to move temporarily. He didn't completely destroy them. Kill, steal, take everything, even the clothes on their backs. Seeing those Qingying battleships, Guo Ran's eyes reddened. Those were treasures that he dreamed of obtaining. He immediately charged over to snatch them. There was only one true Qingying battleship, the personal fortress of Luo Qingying. It was said that it was impossible for others to activate it. Hence, these Qingying battleships were replicas. But even though they were replicas, they were still based on the Qingying battleship, and in the current era, no other battleship could match them. Long Chen and the others descended from the heavens like a flying army, striking thunderously. They appeared at the heart of the city in no time at all, throwing the entire city into chaos. It had to be known that almost all battles in the All-Devil Star Field were based on long-distance attacks. People would only fight at close range at the end of a battle, so they had no experience with a battle like this. Moreover, there was no way for them to effectively use their battleships within the city. Random attacks would only harm their comrades. They weren't even confident in striking their targets, but they would definitely be killing their allies. In this situation, using their battleships was simply harming themselves. They had never thought of such a situation. Even their generals were lost on what to do. They didn't know what orders to give. As for the experts on the battleships, without the orders from the generals, they also didn't dare to rashly unleash attacks. They don't have many people. There's no need to use the battleships. We'll kill them ourselves. Finally, the leader shouted his orders. What he didn't know was just how foolish this order was. The city had over 10 million experts. They thought that they could crush these invaders with numbers. As soon as they abandoned the battleships, the Starry River warriors flew away from them, instead striking the battleships and destroying their runes before taking them away. Activate the formation to the apocalypse level. We cannot let them run away, shouted the general with a furious howl. He found that these people weren't here to kill. They were only here to take their battleships, but he wouldn't give them that chance. But if we activate the apocalypse level, people outside won't be able to get in either. There's also no way to stop it until the energy runs out. Reminded someone else. It doesn't matter. We cannot allow them to take those battleships. Quick, I will take responsibility if anything happens, shouted the general. Following his orders, the city's formation rumbled and the runes on top of the barrier actually ignited. As a result, an immense pressure caused heaven and earth to twist. Everyone within the city felt like a boulder was crushing them. Even the city's buildings were unable to endure that pressure and began to collapse. The ground cracked. It was an astonishing sight. How adorably foolish. If I didn't know who the traitors were, I'd even think that they were on our side. Long Chen almost laughed when he heard those orders. Once the formation was activated to the apocalypse level, there was no stopping it. It would only end once all the stored energy was used up. Now, no one could leave or enter. This general thought that with this, Long Chen wouldn't be able to leave. But with the Black Dagger, the strength of a formation made no difference to him. The only ones that they had trapped were themselves. The Qingying battleships were already gathered by Guo Ran, Leng Hui, Xia Luer, and the others. Meanwhile, the Starry River warriors were like bandits snatching the other battleships. Long Chen also made his move. He killed several people, conducting soul searches. He didn't gain anything from those soul searches though. Suddenly, he saw one person with slightly different armor and immediately rushed toward him. Boom! Long Chen exchanged blows with that person. The result was that Long Chen was forced back a step by that person. It was actually a powerful expert. That person was sent flying by Long Chen. But then Guo Ran appeared behind him and cut off his head. His cooperation with Long Chen was flawless. Long Chen immediately pointed a finger at that person's head. In a bit, a flood of information entered Long Chen's mind. I've finally found it. Chapter 36-21 Boom. Long Chen and Guoran rushed to the west of Hongying City. They destroyed a palace and violently tore up the ground. This was the treasury of the Luo clan. "Boss, you're too brilliant. You even found this place." Guoran cried out emotionally when he saw endless spatial trunks full of treasures. What brilliance! The Luo clan set up spies within the human race, but the Dean also wisely played the same move and set up spies in the Luo clan. Without someone to provide support, how do you think we could so smoothly transport ourselves in? That fellow was also marked as a higher-up of the Luo clan. With a single soul search, all their secrets are exposed, said Long Chen. Only then did Guoran realize that this was all Shui Yifun's preparations. He prostrated himself in admiration toward the Dean. As the Dean had said, everything was already prepared for Guoran. The Dean had only been waiting for him to erupt. However, thinking carefully, even if the Dean had prepared this path for him, he wouldn't be able to do it as well. He didn't have Long Chen's terrifying power in truth. What Guoran didn't know was that according to Shui Yifun's plans, the best opportunity to make their move would only be after 3 to 5 years. However, due to Long Chen arriving, the plan had changed. Everything was moving in advance. At this time, it could be seen just how terrifying Shui Yifun's stratagems were. The Luo clan's people went crazy when they saw the treasury was exposed. They charged at Long Chen, but the Starry River warriors stopped them. They were completely unable to get by. It was unknown just how many people were torn apart in this wild rush. Blood then soaked the city. Guoran was gathering the spatial trunks as quickly as possible. He didn't even care about anything else. To have been hidden by the Luo clan, these things were definitely treasures. On the other hand, Long Chen was rapping the walls with his hand. He quickly heard an echo from one area. The wall was clearly hollow. "Boss, are there even better treasures?" Guoran had sucked away all the spatial trunks. Seeing Long Chen's actions, he was even more excited. Long Chen took out the dagger once more and cut it across the wall. When a large hole appeared, Guoran cried out in shock. "Devil Dragon Black Metal?" This wall contained another trunk, and it was made out of Devil Dragon Black Metal and was supported by formations as well. Long Chen didn't know how to unlock these formations, so he could only cut through them with his dagger. Damn, what is this dagger made out of? Even Devil Dragon Black Metal is as weak as paper in front of it. Guoran's expression changed. It had to be known that he was full of confidence in his Devil Dragon battle armor. Although he knew that Long Chen's dagger was terrifying, he had not expected it to be so sharp. Even Devil Dragon Black Metal was cut through like tofu. Hence, Guoran lost confidence. Only a ghost would know what this thing is made of. Back then, it almost took my life. Although I don't know its origins, such a thing is definitely extraordinarily rare. Your luck isn't so bad, so you likely won't run into a weapon like this. Don't worry about it, said Long Chen. Despite not knowing this dagger's origins, Long Chen could sense that it most definitely had an astonishing backstory. Why are there only 2 sheets of paper? Guoran found that this trunk actually had nothing inside it other than 2 thin pieces of paper covered in words. At first, he had thought that it was perhaps for some cultivation technique. But then he saw the top sheet was actually a list of names. Could it be? Guoran was shocked. Yes, it's a list of traitors of the human race. Only the leader of the Luo clan is aware of its content. That leader should be rushing over here right now, Everything is under control. As for the other sheet, Long Chen was just about to pick up the second piece of paper. Just then, Hongying City quivered. This novel is available on com. They've arrived. Let's go take a look. Long Chen and Guoran flew out of the treasury. There was a chaotic battle outside. As for outside the barrier, it was vaguely possible to see countless battleships. The 7 Qingying battleships were attacking the barrier at full power. 7 rays of divine light converged on one point, and a concave depression appeared in the barrier. It seemed that they were trying to forcibly open a hole in the barrier. That way, they might be able to get through the apocalypse level of the barrier. Boss, let's have a decisive fight with them today. Seeing that it didn't seem likely for them to be able to get away from that huge lineup, Guoran's battle-intent soared. No need. They are dogs driven into a corner. If we really fight directly against them, even if we win, we'll pay a steep price. After all, this particular battle is an internal battle within the human race. Even if you die in this battle, your name won't go down in history as anything famous. That's unfair to the Starry River warriors. Gather everyone, and we'll charge out the other way. I'll open the path. Long Chen had Guoran give orders, while he went to the other side of Hongying City. Hongying City was filled with corpses. The Starry River warriors were crazily chasing down the traitors of the human race. As Guoran gave orders, they once more gathered. Like a furious arrow, they shot in the other direction. Boom! Long Chen's dagger stabbed into the barrier, instantly piercing it. Everyone then rushed out of it. Get onto the defensive battleship. Long Chen shouted. Guoran had long since summoned the Heavenly Dragon battleship. This was the highest-level battleship of the Heavenly Dragon Divine Armor College, and it was a defensive battleship. Everyone jumped on. Just as they got on, they heard a huge explosion behind them. Boom! If the barrier was simply pierced through by the black dagger, it would continue functioning. But due to Long Chen piercing the barrier while the Luo clan's people also blasted an opening in the barrier at the same time, the barrier instantly lost any stability. It exploded. The Heavenly Dragon battleship was sent flying by the impact. It crashed through dozens of mountains, leaving a long gulch in the ground that spread all the way beyond the horizon. As for Hongying City, the explosion directly blew it into pieces. Other than the Qingying battleships, the other battleships were directly struck by that explosion and blown apart. The detonation of the formation was like a sun exploding. Its destructive power caused the entire All-Devil star field to quiver. The Heavenly Dragon battleship tumbled back an unknown distance away before crashing into a mountain and suddenly collapsing. Guoran and the others came flying out wretchedly like peas thrown out of a bowl. Damn, if it weren't for the Heavenly Dragon battleship, we'd have been killed. Guoran was green with fear. The other Starry River warriors were now badly injured. Their battle armors were severely damaged. Even within the Heavenly Dragon battleship, they had received an immense impact. That explosion was truly terrifying. Run! Long Chen's expression suddenly changed. He had Guoran summon another battleship and they rushed off. Long Chen and the others had just flown into the air when they saw black clouds gathering in the distance. A terrifying aura made their souls feel cold. The All-Devil race has finally appeared. Guoran and the others' hearts rose up their throats. Chapter 36-22 Endless figures came out from the depths of the All-Devil star field. As their violent devil chi filled the sky, the clear sky instantly became black night. A murderous aura also filled the world. This was an aura that Long Chen recognized. Back then, that beast of the All-Devil race that he had unleashed in Pill Valley also possessed such an aura. If we're surrounded by the All-Devil race, that will be troublesome. Guoran's expression changed. It's fine. They're not coming for us. They're probably going to Hongying City, said Long Chen. Boss, how do you know? If they are after us, they should be coming at us from every direction. Even if they can't lie in wait in every direction, at the very least, they should be cutting off our path of retreat. Since they came out of the depths of the All-Devil star field, they were probably attracted by the battle. My guess would be that the All-Devil race wishes to take advantage while the Luo clan and us engage in a life-and-death battle, which would result in both sides being badly wounded. After that, they would come and wipe us all out, said Long Chen as he eyed that endless devil beast army. No way! Didn't the All-Devil race care deeply about spiritual contracts? Would they betray their oath so recklessly? Leng Hui didn't dare to believe it. That so-called spiritual contract is like a contract between businessmen. Many of the finer details are actually traps. Such things can't be relied upon. After all, the All-Devil race is essentially a branch of the Devil race. To do business with a group of devils, the Luo clan's people really are foolish. I originally had a headache about dealing with the families of those traitors. Now, it seems that I don't need to worry about them. Long Chen sighed with a complicated expression. Although he hated the traitors, many amongst their families were truly innocent. Perhaps when they were born, their families had betrayed the human race, and they simply didn't understand. After dealing with the traitors, there were still their descendants. Long Chen would let them off. But even if Long Chen let them off, would the rest of the All-Devil Star Field forgive them for the sins of their ancestors? To get rid of weeds, you had to pull them out by the roots. An autumn chill would soon blow through this land. Of course, Long Chen would not permit the All-Devil Star Field's experts to kill the women and children. While he was here, the All-Devil Star Field's people wouldn't dare to touch them. But what about after he left? It would be difficult for those people to escape their deaths. After all, many people had died to the Luo clan's traitors. Their ancestors left them with a blood debt that had to be paid. Despite all of Long Chen's wits, he had a headache when it came to the descendants of those traitors. He didn't know what to do with them. However, now that the All-Devil Race's army had come, Long Chen already knew what kind of fate those traitors had in store for them. Their battleship flew through the air. As expected, the All-Devil Race didn't chase them. They quickly saw the sun once more. Looking back in the direction of Hongying City, they merely saw a black world that made them feel cold. Long Chen took out a jade tablet. He looked at it for a long time before sighing and giving it to Guoran. Guoran eyed it in confusion. An image transmission jade? This image transmission jade was a pair with the heaven-peering jade. The heaven-peering jade was used for spying, while the image transmission jade was what received everything from the heaven-peering jade. After giving Guoran the image transmission jade, Long Chen walked to the tail of the battleship. He quietly looked into the distance without saying a word. Guoran and the others looked at each other, not knowing what Long Chen meant by this. Leng Hui suggested, "Should we activate it and take a look?" Everyone was very curious. They looked at Guoran, and Guoran activated the jade, causing an image to appear in the air. After that, startled cries rang out. It was an image of Hongying City. Countless devil beasts were in the midst of devouring the corpses of the human race. The Luo clan's Qingying battleships were blazing with divine light as they fought off the devil beasts, trying to escape their encirclement. The All-Devil Race really has reneged on their agreement. They're slaughtering the traitors. Xie Qianqian was shocked. A quick look at calm will leave you more fulfilled. Hongying City was a complete wreck. It was ruined beyond recognition. Other than the Qingying battleships, there was only a tenth of the original battleships. Those battleships were trying to break free with the lead of the Qingying battleships. Despite them doing their best to get through the devil beasts, there were simply too many of them. Boom! Suddenly, a huge explosion shook the land, and a giant figure smashed a staff down on one of the Qingying battleships. It was a giant figure dozens of miles tall with a white staff. The staff looked like it was made out of jade and was covered in strange marks. When it struck the Qingying battleship, it smashed it into the ground, leaving a crater. The giant roared, shaking the heavens and causing the land to darken. Moreover, his devil chi filled the world, and his eyes were like two blazing suns. Standing there, he caused the 10,000 Daos to wail. Guoran and the others were horrified. They had never seen such a terrifying existence before. Slaughter all the humans. In the All-Devil Race, what I, All-Devil Tianai, say is what counts. The ones to form contracts with the human race have been killed by me. Their agreement is void with us," shouted the giant, charging at the Qingying battleship just like that. His staff then smashed down. The Qingying battleship that he had just smashed down was struggling up when it was once more struck. After that, its protective divine light shattered and countless cracks covered it. When it struck the ground this time, it fell apart and armored experts came tumbling out. They had just appeared when countless devil beasts charged up and devoured them. Heavens, he destroyed a Qingying battleship in 2 attacks. Just who is he? Leng Hui, Xie Luer, and the others' expressions all changed. It had to be known that the Qingying battleships were said to be unrivaled. Their offense, defense, and speed were all unmatched, and it was precisely due to this that people felt such hatred for the Luo clan. The Qingying battleship was made to slay the All-Devil Race, but they used it to kill humans. The human race both loved and hated the Qingying battleship. But no matter what, The Qingying battleship was still the strongest battleship in people's hearts. That was unquestionable. However, this strongest battleship was destroyed in 2 strikes by that expert who called himself All-Devil Tianai. They were horrified. Although Long Chen had also destroyed the Qingying battleships, this All-Devil Tianai did it even more directly. He used pure power to destroy them. Most terrifying of all was that his aura was clearly only in the Divine Lord realm, but his powers surpassed a late-stage world king. Following All-Devil Tiany's roar, his devil chi swirled around him. He then summoned a manifestation, and with a single strike of his staff, he destroyed all of the Qingying battleships. Boss, look! Guo Ran suddenly cried out in terror. Long Chen was startled and hastily ran back over. Looking at the image, when he looked at All-Devil Tianai suddenly turned and looked at him. It was as if he was seeing Long Chen and the others through space. He has spotted us. Guo Ran and the others were so terrified that their hair stood on end. A bloodthirsty devil beast had set his sights on them. Chapter 36-23 Boom. Suddenly, the jade in Guo Ran's hand exploded. The image vanished, but All-Devil Tiany's merciless devil eyes that were full of killing intent were deeply imprinted in people's minds now. All of them were pale as paper. It was like they had just walked past the gates of hell. How terrifying! Their hearts were filled with fear. After all, that All-Devil Tiany's gaze was absolutely terrifying. They couldn't even form a will to resist it. Just who is this person? He's a monster. Leng Hui was just as terrified. He had never seen such an existence before. With a single gaze, he could make their will crumble. Using mental energy to gaze back at us. This person really is terrifying. Having exchanged a glance with that person through space, Long Chen's heart shook. We must hurry back to the Heavenly Dragon domain. The real battle is about to erupt. A quick look at Tinyurl. Com/2P9MV8W will leave you more fulfilled. When the battleship reached a secret transportation node, they directly returned to the college. As for that transportation formation, it was destroyed after one use. Their enemies wouldn't be able to follow them. When Long Chen and the others returned to the Heavenly Dragon Divine Armor College, Shui Yifan and the other elders were waiting for them. We're abandoning the Heavenly Dragon domain. All of our resources are to be moved to the magnificent Heaven domain. Bring everything that you can. Long Chen directly gave this order after returning. What? That's not possible. You want us to abandon everything we've had for so many years? It's unacceptable. Everyone was stunned by these orders, especially the college's senior experts. They firmly opposed this. We'd rather die here than leave, declared one elder furiously. Up to you. If you want to die, then stay here. Leave your corpses for the all-devil race to enjoy. If you want to live, do as I say. Our time is very pressing. Every second that passes can decide life or death. I can't be bothered to explain things to a bunch of fools, said Long Chen coldly. Countless people admired Long Chen now. But to have these old fellows abandon the college was even worse than killing them. When it comes to the 3 major domains, the magnificent Heaven domain possesses the greatest defensive power. The 9 dragon veins underground support it, making it the most suitable for a long-term battle. We've all seen the recording. The All-Devil race raised the Luo clan to use them against us while they were gathering their power. While the human race exhausted itself fighting each other, they raised their elites, so the power disparity in this battle is immense. We must know how to sacrifice. I agree with Long Chen's order, said a half-step divine venerate. Of course you agree. You're not the one abandoning your sect, your home. You don't care, roared an elder of the Heavenly Dragon Divine Armor College. His face was already streaked with tears. The half-step divine venerate furiously retorted, Bullshit, this is called taking a look at the big picture, understood? Do we even have any leeway to choose in our current state? It's not just your home. So many people have been forced to abandon their homes just to squeeze into our 3 domains. Trillions of people have lost their homeland. Did you say anything when they lost their homes? As long as we win this war, we can rebuild our homes. If we lose our lives, who will look after those homes? The half-step divine venerate's roars caused countless people to fall silent. The heavenly dragon divine armor college's disciples looked at the buildings around them, their eyes moistened. As for the elders, they were sobbing. They also knew that protecting lives was the most important thing. As long as they were still alive, they could still rebuild everything. But they were unwilling to leave this place. Abandoning the college was a kind of humiliation. We will act according to Long Chen's orders. All people within the Heavenly Dragon domain must leave. The Heavenly Dragon Divine Armor College will be the first to mobilize, shouted Shui Yifan. However, when people looked at Shui Yifan, they found that he had lost his normal calm. He looked as if he had aged a great deal all of a sudden. As the dean, the college was his life. He probably felt the worst out of everyone to give this order. With even the dean giving the order, the others finally stopped resisting. Lowering their heads, they got to work on moving with tear-stained faces. I'm sorry, Dean. Long Chen looked at Shui Yifan. This wise elder that always appeared as if everything was under his control was finally showing his pain and helplessness. Shui Yifan shook his head and forced out a smile. A man can plan as much as he wishes, but he cannot outplan the heavens. I, Shui Yifan, spent half a lifetime planning. I thought that everything was under control, but now I find that it's a huge joke. If it weren't for you coming, the All-Devil Starfield would be doomed. The All-Devil race was always a brainless existence. But the more brainless an existence is, the more unpredictable it is. My plan was to raise Guoran into a hero over several years, and he would lead the human race in a counterattack. But the All-Devil race won't give us that chance. I even said that you came too early, saying that you caused my plan to fail. Thinking back, I really am foolish. Shui Yifan had spent a lifetime planning and scheming. He rarely made any mistakes. But this time, his meticulous plans were completely meaningless. He knew that the All-Devil race wasn't really planning on using the Luo clan to subdue the human race. They only intended on using the Luo clan to cause some trouble for the human race before wiping them all out. However, unexpectedly, the All-Devil race's movements were incredibly quick. They had all seen All-Devil Tianai, so Shui Yifan knew that All-Devil Tianai was not drawn over. No, he directly came to kill. In other words, the battle between the Luo clan and the human race meant nothing to him. All-Devil Tianai had come to kill the human race and had not appeared at that time due to some plan. They had only run into each other due to coincidence. The All-Devil race had simple brains, so they didn't know what planning was. They would simply fight if they were strong enough and recover if they were wounded. Once they recovered, they would fight again. Back then, when the Luo clan surrendered to the All-Devil race, it would be more accurate to say that the Luo clan had taken the initiative to find the All-Devil race. They offered advice to the All-Devil race. The Luo clan promised the All-Devil race that they would subdue the human race without the All-Devil race needing to lose a single soldier. They then had the All-Devil race form a contract with them guaranteeing that the All-Devil race wouldn't kill them once they won. However, neither the Luo clan nor Shui Yifan had thought that huge changes would occur within the All-Devil race during this time. The All-Devil race actually had tens of thousands of branches, and their interior was also a fight for authority and position. This All-Devil Tianai was a powerful expert with an immense background. He directly declared himself overlord of the All-Devil Starfield when he took over. He then ordered the attack on the human race without caring about the Luo clan. It just so happened that he had come as Long Chen and the others attacked Hongying City. If Long Chen and the others had left one step slower, the consequences would have been unimaginable. Just thinking about it made Shui Yifan sweat and feel a burst of fear. Under the dean's orders, the Heavenly Dragon Domain's experts rapidly moved, and the Celestial Essence sect also started moving. All their resources were gathered in the magnificent Heaven Domain. Calculating the time, the enemy army should take 7 days to reach this place if they're fast and 10 days if they're slow. We have to hurry. Leave that All-Devil Tianai to me. As for the others, it will be up to you. Long Chen stood at the peak of magnificent Heaven City. He looked into the distance, his blood starting to heat up. Chapter 36-24 The All-Devil Starfield's situation was growing increasingly tense, so everyone was wearing their battle armors at all times. Even some elders with one foot in the grave had taken out the old battle armors they had used back in the day. They already prepared themselves for another battle. Also, the various powers had taken out all their battleships. No one dared to hold back in the slightest at this time. They had a total of 800,000 battleships, which had been distributed into proper ranks. 300 million warriors were gathered. Originally, Shui Yifan wanted Long Chen to give them some simple training so that they could cooperate in battle. After all, there were so many of them that it was all too easy for them to end up fighting chaotically. Surprisingly though, Long Chen refused. He said that he wanted to focus all of his energy on training the Starry River warriors. They would be the main force in this battle. Almost 550,000 people had awakened the Starry River manifestation, and those capable of drawing in astral energy into their bodies numbered 360,000. Long Chen ordered Guoran and the others to help those disciples forge their own Starry River battle armors. He also told the Starry River warriors that they were the main force in this battle, and they had to be mentally prepared. The only gratifying thing was that the battleships that they had stolen from the Luo clan could mostly be directly used. The Qingying battleships in particular were only lightly damaged. With just minor repairs, they could be used. Now, the Qingying battleships became one of their strongest weapons. Everything is going too quickly. If we were given just another year, or even half a year, we wouldn't fear anyone. The Celestial Essence Sect's patriarch, as well as the other elders, were with Long Chen. Watching as everyone worked hard, the patriarch sighed. And why would we have to fear anyone now though? Long Chen smiled. Dean Long Chen, are you really so confident? Asked a half-step divine venerate. Of course I am confident. Remember, when the human race's hearts are united, there is nothing that they can't do. The history that Big Brother Xia Guhong went through last time will not replay. This is what it means when the waves wash away the sand, leaving behind only the gold. Battle is like a magic mirror that reveals all the ghosts and monsters. Unrivaled heroes are born through destiny, rising like clouds above the world. As the times change, the only ones capable of leading an era are heroes. Those that can spill their blood and sacrifice their lives to protect the people, those that can forget death on the battlefield and slaughter their enemies, are all heroes. We have so many heroes on our side. We will definitely win this battle, said Long Chen with utmost confidence. When it comes to heroes, Dean Long Chen is the real unrivaled hero. You and Xia Guhong are both heroes of our All-Devil Star Field, praised the patriarch of the Celestial Essence Sect. The patriarch felt utmost reverence for Xia Guhong, and Long Chen's display made him feel like he was seeing Xia Guhong from all those years ago. Long Chen shook his head. Those that can fight together on the battlefield are all called heroes. Only I don't count. Why is that? Long Chen smiled. Because other people set foot onto the battlefield knowing that they will die but are still fearless. That's a hero. But I don't believe that there's anyone capable of killing me on this battlefield. His tone was very flat, but it was overflowing with a heroic and arrogant feeling. Even so, this arrogance was actually very heartening to everyone. This was the confidence of a supreme expert. In the past few days, Long Chen had stopped training. Instead, he focused on maintaining a calm heart and watched as Guoran trained the Starry River warriors. A quick look at. Calm will leave you more fulfilled. Report. The All-Devil Race's army has appeared. They have not gone to the Celestial Essence domain or the Heavenly Dragon domain. Instead, they are coming directly for the Magnificent Heaven domain. It is estimated that they will arrive here in just 6 hours. A scout came to give a report. Their enemies had already reached their surveillance area. 6 hours. Hearing this, the entire people in the city tensed up and they turned a bit pale. This battle would decide all of their lives. Naturally, they were nervous. The whole city will enter the highest level of alert, and the formation is also to be activated. Battleships, get in line. Prepare for battle, shouted a half-step divine venerate. After that, an alarm blared. Everyone once more checked over their equipment and got into position. The 360,000 Starry River warriors quickly got into position as well. Their movements were clearly a bit messy, and some people even took the wrong place in their nervousness. They blushed, wishing to find a hole to bury themselves in. Upon seeing this, Guoran's expression wasn't very good. He was about to chide them when Long Chen stopped him. Long Chen smiled and said, "This isn't something to feel bad or embarrassed about. Seeing you, it feels like I'm looking at my brothers back in the day. I remember when I started training, I also cried for my father and mother. Don't think that Guoran looks so illustrious now. Let me tell you, back then he was the one crying the worst." "Boss, can you give me some face?" cried Guoran. The Starry River warriors laughed. They couldn't imagine someone as powerful as Guoran having such a side, so they instantly felt much better inside. Experts are all weaklings who grow stronger step by step. No one is born strong. To tell the truth, this battle is coming too quickly, and it's not giving you time to grow. Every single one of you still has immense potential to grow. However, this is nothing to complain about. You'll find that this world will never give you enough time. If this world gives you time, you'll slack off and won't have a sense of urgency. You'll be satisfied with just getting by. Think carefully. Weren't you slacking off back then? Did you feel like your days were very relaxed? Do you now regret wasting so much time and energy? If you were working this hard back then even if you didn't reach the level of Xia Luer, Leng Hui, and the others, you wouldn't be that far from them, right? If you had known that the All-Devil Race's army would come for you sooner, would you have cultivated like you had before? Unfortunately, this world doesn't have so many ifs. Thus, I can tell you that experts are existences that are forced to appear. Growth is accompanied by pain and injury, life and death. An expert must walk the path of tempering through fire and blood, of struggling through endless pain. Right now, all of you are walking the path of experts. Furthermore, experts have no room to retreat. They can only advance forward. Just then, the world shook and the devil chi gushed toward them from the distance like a tide. The All-Devil Race's army had yet to even arrive, but their devil chi was already reaching these experts, covering the sky. The path of an expert has no shortcuts. Don't be afraid on the battlefield because you will see me right at the front. Long Chen was already walking out of the city. He appeared outside the defensive formation. Starry River warriors, assemble. Today we will kill them until the world flips. We'll use the fresh blood of the All-Devil Race to dye our land, shouted Guoran. Kill! 360,000 Starry River warriors roared along with him and charged out of the formation. Following that, the battleships rumbled behind them. Millions and millions of warriors came out of the barrier. Just then, an endless army of devil beasts appeared. They were like millions and millions of roaring mountains. Long Chen instantly spotted the All-Devil Tianai at the front. He suddenly stamped on the air, shooting out like a bolt of lightning. Traversing a space of tens of thousands of miles in an instant, all on his own, he charged into the All-Devil army. Chapter 36-25. Seeing Long Chen charging out, Xia Luer, Leng Hui, and the others were about to follow when Guoran raised his hand to stop them. Everyone, don't be reckless. I am now the general of the Starry River Legion, and all orders will come from me. Boss is launching a preemptive attack to blunt their offense. We cannot mess around now that he has created this opportunity for us, shouted Guoran. Just as Guoran finished talking, Long Chen arrived in front of All-Devil Tianai. The Hongming saber slashed down with a whistling gust, striking like lightning. A little human also dares to brandish their claws? All-Devil Tianai swung his staff, directly receiving Long Chen's attack. Boom! Two immense forces crashed together, unleashing a huge explosion. At this moment, the entire world seemed to flip. Flying sand and rubble blew through the air, and the earth was torn asunder. A huge wave of earth soared into the sky. The Devil Beast army was impacted by this clash and came to a sudden stop. Countless giant figures were sent flying by the shockwaves, like boulders flying through the air. As Long Chen and All-Devil Tianya's power erupted like volcanoes, a pillar of blood chi soared into the heavens, piercing the very bindings of the world. When their blood chi erupted, the whistling sound became an ear-piercing boom that caused the world to quiver. A little devil also dares to be arrogant? Is being a dog of Lord Brahma something to be proud of? Longchen pressed down on all Devil Tianya's staff and shouted, "What nonsense are you shouting? Lord Brahma simply has a collaboration with the All-Devil race. You dare to insult the All-Devil race's name? What awaits you is only death," roared All-Devil Tianai angrily. Collaboration? What a huge joke. Your All-Devil race is treated like house pets to be raised by Lord Brahma. They're sealed in trial regions and used like tools. You have the face to call it a collaboration? Sneered Longchen. Suddenly, an image appeared behind Longchen. It was the image of that monster from the All-Devil race breaking free from its seal, cursing Lord Brahma, and slaughtering the disciples of Pill Valley before ultimately dying in Pill Valley. This was precisely the scene from the mortal world when Longchen had inadvertently unleashed a monster from the All-Devil race. All-Devil Flame Spirit Beast. When All-Devil Tianai saw that scene, his expression instantly changed. He recognized that monster. Do you see? The All-Devil race is nothing more than a pawn of Lord Brahma, no different than a dog. After being used, you're tossed aside for his descendants to eat, sneered Longchen. We are calm, find us on Google. Damn Brahma, you dare to treat my All-Devil race like this? Roared All-Devil Tianai. However, you're nothing good either. Your human race should have never been born in this world. I will eradicate you from this world today. All-Devil Tianai roared and devil chi erupted out of his body, along with a manifestation. It was vaguely possible to see an ominous beast inside of it. That beast unleashed a desolate chi. Following that, the earth was torn apart, while mountains and rivers quivered. People stared in horror at All-Devil Tianai. They were unable to imagine what kind of power this was. Starry Sea births violet chi. Longchen shouted. At this moment, his divine ring lit up behind him, and violet gi gushed out of it. A starry sea then appeared within his divine ring. Boom! The void exploded, sending a ripple that spread like exploding fireworks. It was beautiful and dazzling, yet fatal. This violent force changed the terrain, and countless All-Devil experts were sent flying miserably, hacking up blood. All-Devil Tianai was actually forced back just from Longchen's eruption of power. With every step he retreated, the land collapsed. Moreover, countless devil beasts were struck by the shockwaves and turned into blood mist. Those devil beasts were all mid- or late-stage world kings. But in front of the power exuded by the two of them, they were as weak as ants. Inferior human, you dash. All-Devil Tianai roared furiously. He hadn't expected Longchen to possess this much power. His aura was still in the midst of climbing to its peak when Longchen interrupted him, making him unable to freely unleash his power. Thus, he was repeatedly forced back. Just as he roared, Longchen's waiting left hand found the chance to slap him in the face. All-Devil Tianai was originally being gradually forced back, but with this slap, he instantly lost his balance and was sent flying like a shooting star. He was like a meteor, leaving a bottomless ditch in the ground. A batch of devil beasts in that area vanished. All of them were smashed to death by All-Devil Tianai. Humans are the spirit of 10,000 creatures, standing at the pinnacle of the heavenly Daos. Moreover, you transform into human form yet call the human race inferior. Is your head full of crap? Longchen appeared like a god when he slapped All-Devil Tianai. He was incredibly arrogant, truly like a divine being looking down on mortals. This slap was not just a simple slap on All-Devil Tianyas face. It was also a slap that sent the fear in people's hearts away, a slap that let them see the dawn of victory. Starry River warriors, follow me. Use the blood of our enemies as a testament to our heroism. We will protect the families that stand behind us. Avenge our ancestors. Seeing the moment arrive, Guarant's saber came flying out of its sheath. He directly gave the order to charge, and his devil dragon battle armor lit up. Kill! 360,000 Starry River warriors roared together. Even in the face of endless devil beasts, they didn't show any fear. What they had was overwhelming hatred. After fighting for countless years, The enmity between the two races had sunk into their souls. Warriors of the human race, the call of war summons us. This is our life and death battle. We will follow the path of experts, slaughtering our enemies. Our battleships will crush the bodies of our foes, our divine weapons will cut off their heads. We fight for our territory, we fight for our families, and we fight so that our descendants can grow in our homes. The Celestial Essence Sex Patriarch also gave his orders, and countless battleships flew out. Even Shui Yifan and the other half-step divine venerates came out in their battle armors. A huge battle erupted. This was a truly bloody battle. At this point, no one had any more fear. As long as they set foot on the battlefield, their lives were no longer their own. All they could do was do their best to slay more enemies. The endless Devil Beast army also attacked under the leadership of the All-Devil experts. The All-Devil race possessed the ability to transform. There were over 10 million of them, every single one of them being a powerful expert. Split the heavens. Guarant's armor blazed. His black saber then pointed at the heavens and slashed down, forcibly tearing a path through the enemy army. Xie Luo, Leng Hui, and the others followed close behind him. In a triangular formation, they stabbed into the enemy army. Boom! Suddenly, a powerful explosion erupted. An all-devil expert smashed his spear down, and over 10 Starry River warriors were blasted apart along with their battle armors. Seeing this, Guaran and the others were appalled. Chapter 36-26. This was a peak expert, one of all-devil Tianye's left and right hands. Seeing that the Starry River warriors were unstoppable, he changed targets from breaking through the city to coming here. A group of ants is all you are. Accept your deaths. Struggling will only bring you greater pain, announced that expert. His blood chi erupted, bringing with it an irresistible divine pressure. Fuck you, you ant. I'll kill you. Guaran roared. The battle had just started, and he couldn't allow their morale to receive a setback right now. Otherwise, the atmosphere that Long Chen had created would vanish. The human race's warriors might look imposing at this moment, but compared to this endless sea of devil beasts, they were like a single leaf on top of the sea. If they couldn't obtain victory through a single burst of power, then it would ultimately be the human race that was wiped out here. Long Chen had already told Guaran that if only the two of them survived this battle, it would be the greatest humiliation of their lives. They would not have managed to lead the human race to victory. In his rage, Guaran didn't even care about anything else. He raised his saber. Split the heavens too. This was something that Long Chen had just taught him. Through constant research, Guaran finally found a way to inscribe the runes onto his armor. This was his strongest trump card at the moment. Although it was supposed to be saved to protect his life at a critical moment, he couldn't bother with that now. His full power erupted. Guaran's battle armor rumbled. Due to igniting the power of his battle armor, the speed at which this attack was unleashed was even faster than when Long Chen used it. In terms of pure killing power, it was not at all inferior to Long Chen's attack. You dare to kill my brothers? I'll go all out against you. Guaran roared. At this moment, a man and a saber became one. This saber was filled with the resolution to either succeed or die trying. In his fury, Guaran finally managed to comprehend the true essence of split the heavens. Boom! That all-devil expert blocked with his full power, only for his spear to be shattered and his arms to be broken. He then tumbled back, hacking up blood. Guaran's attack gave him a serious wound. Bang! Guaran stamped on the ground and shot after him, not giving him a chance to rest. Unfortunately, at this moment, over 10 all-devil experts blocked Guaran at the same time, forcing him back. Seeing this scene, Guaran was shocked and enraged. These all-devil experts were actually so powerful. He was unable to charge through them, and this made him lose his best chance to kill that enemy. In truth, if Guaran had taken a greater risk, he would have had a very high chance of killing that expert. But if he charged so deep into the enemy army like that, the Starry River Legion would lose its general. To throw the entire legion into danger just to kill a single person was definitely taboo for a general. After failing with this attempt, Guoran retreated back to his troops and gave orders, organizing the battle formation. Boom. But all of a sudden, a huge explosion caused the land to deform. The people fighting were thrown into the sky. What? Whether it was the humans or the all-devils, they were startled by this. It was like some giant beast was breaking out of the ground. Moreover, the earth was moving like waves, and the sky was resonating with it. Two lights were clashing underground. It was those lights that were completely deforming the land. Its boss Long Chen. Lung Hui and the others cried out in shock. At some point, Long Chen and All-Devil Tianai had entered the ground. When both of them unleashed their full power, they caused the earth to deform. What kind of power is this? When they saw their power causing such a phenomenon, countless jaws dropped. Heavens, the magnificent heaven city is flowing away. A startled cry rang out. People hastily looked over to see that the magnificent heaven city was moving further and further away from the battlefield. It was wrapped in a barrier, but the world was no longer stable as the earth roiled. In other words, the magnificent heaven city really was flowing away. The 9 dragon veins underground were one with the city. As long as the dragon veins remained, the city could not be broken. Hence, for such a phenomenon to occur, it could only be said that the entire land was moving. Even the 9 dragon veins were flowing away along with the magnificent heaven city. Pull back the battle line. Maintain a set distance with the formation. Guoran immediately gave new orders when he saw this. The magnificent heaven city's formation was their greatest barrier on this battlefield. The human race's stock of resources within the all-devil star field were all invested in that formation. It was capable of attacking and defending. Thus, if it left, the human race would have to pay a terrifying price. The formation was their greatest aid, possessing immense killing power as long as they had it. But they definitely couldn't let their enemies reach it. The optimal scenario was to keep the enemies away from the barrier while still keeping them within firing range. With the human race's resources, they could kill as many enemies as they came. But the crux of this battle was keeping their enemies at a set distance away. Unfortunately, they could only preserve this distance by using people's lives. So, whether it was the Starry River warriors or the people in the battleships, they all knew their duty. They had to block their enemies outside the formation. They didn't have such high hopes of slaughtering all their enemies with this formation, so their current goal was merely to lower their enemies' morale, cutting off their assault. It would be far too dangerous if the devil beasts reached the city. The shifting terrain caused the city to retreat, and this turned into a blessing for the human race. They could now retreat as they fought, reducing the pressure and lowering their casualties. As the battle line slowly retreated, the Starry River Legion's battle formation changed, switching from offense to defense. At the rear, the battleships unleashed their full firepower, constantly shooting the enemy army in front of the Starry River Legion. Find the original at com. At the same time, the formation launched long-distance attacks. Rays of divine light fell as if they cost no money at all. As a result, explosions erupted within the enemy army repeatedly, and every attack brought with it a rain of blood. The earth had long since been dyed red, blood and carnage covered the land. As Guoran and the others fell back, they got further and further away from Long Chen and All-Devil Tianai. Yet, both of their auras grew increasingly oppressive. Because of this, the pressure that Guoran and the others felt didn't lessen in the slightest bit even as they fell back. All they could see were 2 balls of divine light repeatedly clashing. Space in that area was constantly collapsing, tearing, and crumbling. As both of their blood qis were blazing, their clash created a zone of absolute death. With the Minghong saber in his hand, Long Chen pressed All-Devil Tianai. Both of their auras were crazily climbing, and their eyes were locked onto the other. Killing intent erupted out of both of them. Excellent! The human race has finally produced a decent opponent. This will make my trial more brilliant. I'm getting excited. All-Devil Tianai smiled at Long Chen sinisterly, revealing a mouthful of sharp teeth. He was like a bloodthirsty beast eyeing his prey. Devil Chi swirled around him. At this moment, the roaring of an ancient beast vaguely came from his manifestation. That sound was minuscule at first, as if it came from a far-off world in the past. However, as time passed, the sound grew louder. Now, it was like thunder roaring. No one knew just what kind of beast it was. Chapter 3627. I, Long Chen, have spent a lifetime fighting countless battles. I swept through whole worlds, slaying so many demons, devils, ghosts, and other monsters that I cannot even remember them all. If I wasn't in battle, I was on my way to the next battle. You are a toad at the bottom of a well and only know how to brag. I've grown numb to toads like you. I don't know how many of you I've trampled, so I'm not interested at all, retorted Long Chen in the face of all Devil Tianya's arrogance. Ignorant, foolish, and overconfident. Do you not know that in the desolate era, your human race was at the bottom of the food chain? At that time, the human race was nothing more than servants of my all-devil race. All of you were livestock that we raised, said all-devil Tianai sinisterly. The human race truly did have a difficult time surviving in the desolate era. At that time, they were considered the wealth of the various large races. It can be hard to make great work when it's stolen from. However, the human race was smart and capable of creating all kinds of tools. They could help their masters invent things that they couldn't. With how weak the human race's physical bodies were, those powerful races didn't feel any threat from them at all. Hence, the human race was raised like tools. That period of history was an indescribable pain to the human race, a humiliation that could not be washed away. Hearing these words, all the humans of the All-Devil Star Field were enraged at having this scab picked at. At the same time, they felt immense pain. Long Chen furiously replied, "Idiot, there is no eternal hegemon in this world. The sun rises and falls, the moon waxes and wanes. The times are always changing. The past era belonged to you, but I am telling you that the current era definitely belongs to our human race. As long as I, Long Chen, am present, the human race will definitely stand at the pinnacle of the 10,000 races. Other races will kneel to us. As for idiots like you, you will only be fit to pay tributes to us, living off of our mercy." Long Chen's voice was like an imperial edict. When he shouted, the world quivered and the 10,000 Daos cried. Echoes rang out. It was as if he was the ruler of the immortal world, as if his word could not be defied. As his voice echoed throughout the world, adding on his power that suppressed all Devil Tianya's aura, countless people felt their blood burning with battle intent. Bullshit. The human race is only fit to be slaves. Your very nature is to be slaves. Otherwise, why would the human race produce so many traitors that betray your own race and submit to my grand all-devil race? All-Devil Tianai roared furiously. All-Devil manifestation, Devil Sea Night Tide sound, get out here. Just then, All-Devil Tianya's blood chi reached a critical level and erupted. Previously, his aura had been leaking out as if there was a crack in the dam. Now, it was like the dam had collapsed. Endless devil chi formed a terrifying tide, scouring against heaven and earth. In an instant, All-Devil Tianya's power soared by multiple times. This was a power that sparked despair. The world was practically unable to endure it. As the devil chi crashed against the world, people could see heavenly Tao energy being gradually forced away. The dark tide seemed to transform the world into a devil world. When the black tide appeared, the all-devil experts as well as the devil beasts had their blood chi ignite. It was as if they had gone crazy. They attacked the human race's army frenetically. At this moment, they seemed to have lost their intelligence. Their eyes were red with a crazed desire to kill, and they had no fear. The pressure on the human race's army instantly increased. Inferior human, now do you know the difference between us? The human race's power is as weak as an ant. All-Devil Tianai was within the sea of devil chi, appearing to be an unmatched devil king. His arms bulged and Long Chen was instantly blown off of him. As Long Chen took several steps back, the void collapsed beneath his feet. Power? You want to compete in terms of power with me? Even I don't know just how much power I have right now. Little toad, have a look at what real power is. Following Long Chen's cry, 99 stars lit up within the sea of stars behind Long Chen. His clothes fluttered despite there being no wind. The next moment, a vast, endless power unfurled. Dragon Blood Battle Armor. 6-star Battle Armor. Long Chen's blood chi was fully circulating. He finally unleashed his full power. Violet chi and stars then swirled around Long Chen. It was as if he was a celestial god of the stars. As Long Chen's blood chi rumbled, a dragon cry resounded throughout heaven and earth. The sacred dragon might then mixed with Long Chen's astral energy. Guoran's body also shook as he felt the dragon blood in his body resonating with it. It was like he had been injected with chicken blood, and his entire body was full of power. At the same time as Long Chen drew the stars into his body, the 360,000 starry river warriors felt endless starry energy flooding into their bodies. Their battle armors automatically rumbled. Their battle armors actually formed a resonance with Long Chen's manifestation. Just like that, a portion of the astral energy that Long Chen drew in entered their bodies. Kill! Guoran felt his head buzz. Fear? Cowardice? They had nothing to do with him any longer. It was as if he had become a true dragon, possessing endless arrogance and domineeringness. He wanted to slaughter all of his enemies. Kill! The 360,000 starry river warriors were also affected by Long Chen. They didn't even need to do anything to draw in astral energy. They could directly summon an endless stream of energy, and it was so much that they couldn't even use it all. Under Guoran's lead, the Starry River Legion, which was originally being suppressed after the Devil Tide appeared, launched a crazy counterattack. Like madmen, they slaughtered the experts of the All-Devil race. The All-Devil race had entered a state of madness, but now the 360,000 Starry River warriors had also erupted with unprecedented power. They were fearless. Upon seeing this, Shui Yifan, the patriarch of the Celestial Essence sect, and the others immediately ordered the battleships to cooperate with the Starry River warriors, helping them block the incoming attacks and lessening the pressure on them as much as possible. They could also tell that this battle was going just as Long Chen planned. The Starry River warriors were their main force, and the human race's victory or defeat depended on them. Since this was the case, the old experts had to do their best to protect them. However, they also knew that victory or defeat depended 99% on Long Chen. Seeing him standing in the air, unleashing an unrivaled aura, even these old fellows felt their blood heating up. If they weren't in command of troops, they would have the urge to charge headfirst into the battle as well. Regretfully, Long Chen had given the half-step divine venerates the mission of protecting the Starry River warriors and the city. They had to obey orders. They also knew that their position was important, as no one could replace them. No matter how strong you are, can you compete with the great All-Devil race? All-Devil Tianai roared. Both of their auras grew crazily. One had a devil chi tied behind him, and the other had a starry sea with violet chi. A black and a violet sphere repeatedly clashed. It was like two worlds crashing against each other, resulting in ear-piercing explosions that caused the world to lose its original color. Chapter 3628. What an overconfident fool. Humans are the spirit of the 10,000 creatures. We control the 10,000 das. Since you refuse to submit, I'll beat you into submission. Tighten your pants. Long Chen raised his head and roared. In his full firepower state, it was like he was wrapped in violet chi battle armor. What does that mean? Demanded All-Devil Tianai. It means that when I beat the crap out of you, I'd rather not get splashed by it, shouted Long Chen. I'll fucking kill you. All-Devil Tianai instantly exploded with rage. The black tide behind him flowed, and his staff mobilized the full black tide around him. This was an attack that seemed completely unstoppable. I'll be the one killing you. Long Chen refused to show any weakness. At this moment, the Minghong saber rumbled and stars flowed on top of it. When starry energy merged into the Minghong saber, it let out an excited cry. It was like a bloodthirsty beast that smelled fresh blood. Boom. We are calm. Find us on Google. Violet light and black light twisted and clashed. The two of them struck each other in an exchange that destroyed the world around them. Because of them, the sun and moon in the sky were gone, and the stars could no longer be seen. All people could see was a dark world of violet and black. Die! After those two world-shaking attacks struck, both of them roared and began to unleash a crazy tempest of attacks. They refused to retreat even an inch. With how crazy they attacked, it was as if the person to retreat a single inch first would be completely humiliated. This was no longer a battle between two people. Now, they fought for the honor of their race, so neither of them could afford to lose. One was a peerless heavenly genius of the all-devil race, while the other was a peerless expert of the human race. Their fight seemed to bring about the apocalypse upon this world. How is all-devil Tianai so terrifying? If the all-devil race was like this before, we'd have long since been exterminated. The celestial essence sex patriarch was shocked and amazed as he watched that distant battle. The world there was constantly collapsing and breaking. All-devil Tianai was an absolute monster. His power suppressed the heavenly Daos. Under this condition, their battle armors would lose most of their effect. After all, while a portion of their power came from themselves, another portion came from the heavenly Daos. Legend has it that the all-devil race has over 3,000 emperor races. Within the emperor races, if they produce a powerful expert, they will send them to a trial to accumulate power. Every 100,000 years, the all-devil race supposedly carries out a gathering of peak experts. 16 competitors will then appear amongst the 3,000 emperor races to fight for the all-devil imperial lord's inheritance. Those qualified to join the trial must be the ones fighting for those 16 spots. All-devil Tianai had previously said that he came for a trial, so all of this is nothing more than a game to him. It is said that back then, when Xia Guhong charged into the devil world, he killed 3 of the all-devil race's peak experts. It said that 1 against 3, Xia Guhong killed 1, crippled 1, and made 1 flee. However, he also paid a terrifying price. It seemed that he left behind half of his life inside the devil world. But only Xia Guhong and a few of his trusted comrades saw that battle. They vanished after returning and never mentioned anything about that battle again. Hence, no one else knows the details of that battle. Even this information is considered a rumor. But seeing how terrifying all-devil Tianai is, it can be seen why someone as powerful as Xia Guhong would almost lose his life, said Shui Yifan with a sigh. Brother Yifan, I previously looked down on you, feeling that among our 9 top experts, your old slippery bones were the most useless. Now I admit that I misjudged. In truth, amongst the 9 of us, I'm the most useless. Perhaps only you have the power to ask such a genius for aid. Otherwise, our all-devil star field would be doomed. Ha, that slap was well done, said the patriarch of the Celestial Essence sect. The patriarch no longer felt any hatred for Long Chen even though Long Chen had slapped him in the face and cut off his head. Now, he even felt like he deserved it. Brother Tianxiang, I also admire that magnanimity of yours. For us brothers to be able to witness this battle, we are seeing the hope of the human race rising. Hee, even if these old bones of mine have to be buried today, I can now face our ancestors with a smile, said another half-step divine venerate. He was gratified. At this time, the 360,000 Starry River warriors were bravely killing their enemies. They were fearless. As long as the human race could pass through this tribulation, the old fellows believed that this group of Starry River warriors would do a better job for the human race than they had done in their time. Only when the era comes do geniuses appear. The new generation will surpass the old. Although it's a bit painful for the old generation, it must be accepted. Dean Yifan is correct, we are only witnesses. The all-devil starfield truly is lucky. Back then, Xia Guhong was present to lead us in battle. Now, we have Dean Long Chen striving to save us from this crisis. I'm confident that even without us, the human race will enter a long period of peace after this, said Shui Yifan. All of them exchanged a look and suddenly laughed. That laugh was full of a heroic feeling. Kill! Guoran and the others led the Starry River warriors against the Devil Beast army. They were the vanguard, a sharp blade piercing through their enemies. Hence, they were covered in blood. Their battle armors were soaked in so much blood that their original appearance could no longer be seen. They were already numb to the killing. They only had one thought, and that was to kill as many as they could. As long as they didn't die, they would be killing until there was no enemy left to kill. However, a battle of this intensity placed an extremely heavy burden on them. Most of these Starry River warriors had never even participated in a battle, let alone such a terrifying one. The mental and physical pressure was immense. Because of that, they had not even been fighting for an hour before they started to feel tired. But they bitterly endured. The original formation that they had drilled was not able to provide many benefits. As some Starry River warriors died in combat, their lineup was no longer complete. There was no way around it. They hadn't had much time for training. It had to be known that the Dragonblood Legion was only able to fight so solidly together due to undergoing countless battles together. That was what tempered their ability to support each other without the need to say anything. To have a group of 360,000 warriors suddenly go to war in just 10 days of training was insane. It was already amazing that they were able to fight as well as they were right now. As for Guoran, although he was the general, there were too many enemies. He had to be constantly targeting the strongest enemies that appeared to avoid large casualties appearing among the Starry River warriors. He didn't have much time to direct the troops. Thus, as the pressure increased on the Starry River Legion and the formation grew chaotic, Guoran couldn't do anything about it. The number of casualties was constantly increasing. As of now, over 40,000 Starry River warriors had fallen. The only gratifying thing was that the Starry River warriors were truly brave. Not a single person retreated. Even though they were tired, they still fought to the death. The Starry River warriors also knew that they were the main force of this battlefield, and they could not retreat. Behind them was the city where their fathers, mothers, and families resided. If they retreated, it would mean that all the people dear to them would die to the devil race. Hence, their only choice was to fight to the death. Suddenly, rays of divine light rained down just as their casualties were steadily increasing. Rays of sword chi slaughtered the all-devil experts in front of Guoran and the others. Dinu. Guoran and the others were startled. Shockingly, Shui Yifan, the Celestial Essence Sex Patriarch, and the other elders had charged their way over. Chapter 36-29. Children, you should temporarily retreat. These old bones of ours can still move. We'll help you buy some time to recover, said Shui Yifan. But didn't boss say? Search Tinyo. com/2p9mv8w for the original. Guoran and the others were hesitant. These elders were the core of the human race's hearts, a mental pillar for them. If something happened to them, the human race's morale would be badly affected. Moreover, their power was related to their blood chi. Shui Yifan and the others might have higher realms, but their blood chis had already regressed. Perhaps occasionally fighting wouldn't cause a problem for them, but such a high-intensity battle would overdraft their remaining essence blood, shortening their lifespans. Now, considering that they almost reached the end of their lifespans, going on the battlefield was no different than sending themselves to their deaths. The commander is outside the battlefield and unable to give new orders as the situation changes. Quickly fall back and prepare yourselves. The enemy is powerful, and we have to be prepared for a long-term battle. Shui Yifan patted Guoran's shoulder, not at all caring about the blood covering his armor. But, no buts. This battle is not just yours. It is also ours. Do you think that us old fellows are useless? Demanded the Celestial Essence Sex Patriarch angrily. When we dominated this world, your grandfather hadn't even been born yet. Stop wasting time and retreat. It's our turn to exercise our bodies, barked another half-step Divine Venerate. Good child, don't hesitate. I didn't misjudge you. You are just like your boss inside. You are both figures that will hold up the heavens for the world. You are all heroes, but we're also not cowards who will just sit and watch. We can't buy you much time. Even if you refuse to consider it for yourself, consider it for the warriors beneath you, said Shui Yifan to Guoran. Upon hearing Shui Yifan say this and looking at his smile, Guoran's eyes suddenly reddened. Fall back. The real battle is coming up. After saying that, Shui Yifan's golden battle armor lit up like the rising sun. A powerful aura erupted. Kill! The celestial essence sex patriarch had long since gotten impatient. With a roar, his battle armor emitted a resplendent divine light, and the pressure of a half-step divine venerate erupted. He charged into the devil army. The terrifying power of half-step divine venerates was finally revealed at this time. The all-devil race's experts collapsed in front of them. When half-step divine venerates unleashed their full power, they were practically unrivaled battle gods. Today, I'll kill until I'm satisfied. All-devil race, I'll have you repay the blood debt you owe my fallen brothers. The enmity of so many years will be settled today. Roared the celestial essence sex patriarch like an angry lion. It was as if he had returned to his youth, fighting on the battlefield. His voice contained pain, hatred, remembrance, and sorrow. All the people that had fought alongside him back in the day were gone. It was now just him, all alone. Brothers, I will avenge you. The celestial essence sex patriarch raised his weapon and slaughtered the all-devil race with his full power. 9 great half-step divine venerates were attacking with their full power, annihilating the all-devil race. With every blow, they crushed the enemies, and their huge area attacks instantly stabilized the front lines. With them in charge, the Starry River warriors were free to rest and take a breather. However, seeing their mighty elders display their strength, slaughtering the devil race so easily, not one person cheered. All of them had mournful expressions. Guoran was crying. Shui Yifan and the others were igniting what remained of their lifespans in exchange for a burst of blood qi. They were unleashing their maximum potential. However, they were already old and were burning up their lives to buy some time for everyone. After this battle, they definitely wouldn't live for long. Xie Luer, Leng Hui, Tu Hu, Xie Qianqian, and the other Starry River warriors also wept. Don't cry. Hurry up and recover your energy. Repair your battle armors. Get ready to join the fray again, shouted Guoran even as he cried himself. At this moment, battleships descended to provide the materials that they needed to perform maintenance on their battle armors. The damaged portions were quickly switched out. Some of the Starry River warriors were practically naked. Their battle armors had almost been destroyed, so they had relied on just their physical bodies to fight their enemies. From this, it could be seen just how intense this battle was. The 9 elders, the Grand Formation, and the battleships bought precious time for the Starry River warriors to take a breather. They repaired their battle armors and consumed medicinal pills to recover. After that, they looked at the other battlefield. Long Chen and All-Devil Tianai could no longer be seen. These experts could only see black qi and violet qi clashing. Occasionally, there would be a thunderous explosion, and wild currents flowed within that battlefield. They couldn't even approach that space, so they had no idea what was going on. However, seeing those two forces crazily clashing and their auras continuously rising, it seemed that they possessed endless energy. No one could tell who held the advantage. The battlefield around the two of them was a zone of absolute death. No one could interfere. From the All-Devil race, no one went to support All-Devil Tianai, and from the human race, no one went to support Long Chen. Their battle was truly a battle of kings. Whoever won there would decide victory or defeat in an instant. However, the human race was still at an absolute disadvantage. There was an endless army of devil beasts and experts from the All-Devil race. They were still pouring in. But the human race only had so many warriors. Without reinforcements, there was nowhere for them to go past here. They could only rely on themselves. Guoran, perhaps we should slip over to Boss Long Chen's battlefield. If we work together with Boss Long Chen, as long as we can kill All-Devil Tianai, everything will be over, whispered Leng Hui. This proposal enticed Xie Luer, Tu Hu, Xie Qianqian, and the other peak heavenly geniuses from the various sections. That was the fastest shortcut to ending this battle. If Long Chen lost, then everything would end. It might be better to slip over now while they had the chance, and by joining forces, they could eliminate All-Devil Tianai. You are underestimating All-Devil Tianai too much. An expert on that level is not afraid of fighting a group battle. If we go, we will only be eliminated one by one. Rather than helping, we'll distract boss. Guaran shook his head. But I'm worried. Xie Lua looked at that terrifying space nervously. Don't worry. I don't dare to guarantee anything else, but within the same realm, no one within the 9 heavens and 10 lands is a match for boss. Boss's victory is only a matter of time. Just then, the space at the rear of the Devil Beast army fluctuated. Terrifying ripples shook everyone's heart. Not good. They're creating a channel. Guarant's expression instantly changed. Chapter 3630. At the rear of the All-Devil race, a blood-colored sphere of light appeared, sucking in the blood on the ground. At this moment, intense spatial fluctuations began to come from it. When everyone saw that spatial channel, their expressions changed. No one knew where that channel led to, but they all knew that it definitely wasn't something good. They were already struggling to deal with the devil beasts and all-devil experts before them. If they still had to deal with the reinforcements from the all-devil race, the human race would be doomed. Kill our way over. We cannot allow them to succeed, shouted Guaran. At this time, they had rested for an hour and had recovered about 80% of their energy. Their battle armors were also repaired. Just as Guaran shouted, the Celestial Essence Sect's Patriarch, Shui Yifun, and the others abandoned the defensive line. Like a sharp blade, they pierced toward that blood-colored sphere. Originally, the 9 of them had been fully blocking the all-devil race's attacks. But now, they became a furious arrow blasting through their midst, reaching that sphere in just a few breaths' time. Guaran and the others cheered. This was the power of their seniors. Although the youngsters had plenty of blood chi, the runes on their battle armors relied on their comprehension of the heavenly Daos to activate. Without a high enough mental realm, there were many runes that they couldn't activate. After all, their battle armors were supported by their physical bodies and mental realms. Their armor was the bridge connecting the power of the heavenly Daos and their own power. When 9 half-step divine venerates joined forces, they were unstoppable. They pierced right through the battlefield, invigorating the human race's side. You want to create a transportation formation here? Keep dreaming. The Celestial Essence Sect's Patriarch shouted. He was the first to reach this formation. At this moment, his divine weapon slashed into the sphere. Boom! The spatial gate crumbled. Seeing that, heaven-shaking cheers rang out. However, those cheers quickly turned into shocked cries. The spatial gate's runes were blasted apart and then gathered once more. What? The Celestial Essence Sect's Patriarch was shocked and attacked once more. But this attack was even weaker than the last. The spatial gate merely quivered and didn't crumble. Support us at. Calm. How can this be? Everyone was stunned. Attack it together, shouted the Celestial Essence Sect's Patriarch. Boom. The 9 of them attacked with all their power. 9 rays of divine light converged, forming a blade of death that struck the spatial gate. The spatial gate crumbled once more. This time, it wasn't just the spatial gate that crumbled. Even the earth was torn apart and the void collapsed. This attack had broken the laws of space. Haha, children, do you see? We old-timers still have a use, laughed the Celestial Essence Sect's Patriarch. However, when they heard that laughter, everyone's heart quivered. His voice might still be loud, but it was lacking power. His voice was already a bit hoarse. Patriarch, the Celestial Essence Sect's disciples were all aggrieved. After fighting all out for an hour, the 9 of them had managed to stall the Devil Army, but they had also exhausted a great deal of their longevity. After launching an all-out attack to destroy the spatial gate, their Patriarch was like a lamp that had run out of oil. If the Celestial Essence Sect's Patriarch had reached that point, then the others were definitely no better. Looking at their figures, people called out, "Seniors, come back. Leave the rest to us." They didn't want these seniors who were past their prime to continue throwing their lives away. The youngsters would use their power to protect them. Just at that moment, a shocking and horrifying sight appeared. That crumbled spatial gate converged once more. How can this be? Seeing that, people felt despair. It was actually impossible to destroy the spatial gate. I understand. This is the Devil Blood Gate. It is condensed by the blood and soul energy of the all-devil race and the devil beasts. No matter how many times we destroy it, it will reform. Unless we can exhaust all the blood-soul energy inside, it will reform. But clearly that is impossible. Shui Yifan sighed. Everyone looked at the battlefield. The world was already soaked in blood, and the heavy resentment in the air was the lingering soul energy of the dead. There was an endless supply of blood-soul energy for this spatial gate to repeatedly reform. It would be the same no matter how many times they broke it. Perhaps only Boss can destroy this spatial gate. But Guo Ran panicked. This spatial gate wasn't something that they had the power to destroy. He knew that Long Chen could, but Long Chen was fighting with all Devil Tianai in the distance. He couldn't help them all the way over here. What to do? What can we do? Xia Luer and the others were all anxious. But they couldn't think of any solutions. Haha. Suddenly, the Celestial Essence Sex Patriarch raised his head and laughed. Children, don't worry. Victory will definitely be ours. Leave this spatial gate to us. When the Patriarch said this, for some reason, everyone had a bad premonition. Shui Yifan and the others exchanged a look, and they all suddenly laughed. It was a laugh of delight and familiarity. We've fought against each other for a lifetime, scheming here and there. Now that the end comes, it really is a huge joke, laughed a half-step Divine Venerate. You're right, it really is a huge joke. I normally felt myself to be a wise martial god, only making my move when victory was already in my hold. Now, it seems so foolish and laughable, agreed another half-step Divine Venerate. I'm the most foolish of all of us. I always felt pride in my decisions. Now, I find that I've made many wrong decisions in this lifetime. But at least I made 2 correct decisions. One was to follow Senior Xia Guhong back in the day, and the other was to fight alongside Dean Long Chen. I bore witness to 2 peerless heroes in this lifetime. That's enough. The Celestial Essence Sex Patriarch looked at the distant battlefield of Long Chen and All Devil Tianai. He had a very pleased laugh. It seems that it's Dean Yifan who is the wisest with the greatest vision. Regretfully, we don't have a chance to learn from you, sighed another half-step Divine Venerate. It is a shame that we won't get to see the children grow up and unify the All-Devil Star Field. We won't get to see the glory of their forging arts, said another elder. He looked at the human race's warriors in the distance. A sad light filled his eyes. It doesn't matter if we can see it or not. What's important is that they will all grow up and unify the All-Devil Star Field. As for us, we have to do what only we can do, laughed Shui Yifan. Right, you are absolutely right. Let's start, said the other elder. Wait, we can go, but we can't bring some things. Shui Yifan took out a case. He placed his battle armor, divine weapon, and other things inside before flinging it toward Guo Ran in the distance. The other elders followed suit, passing down their own things. The 9 of them laughed. Taking each other's hands, they walked toward the spatial gate. Dean. Patriarch. Don't. At this moment, everyone knew what was happening. They all cried out in horror, and countless people wept, crying for them to return. Children, this world belongs to you. This is the final thing that we can do for you. The 9 of them walked into the spatial gate. Suddenly, their blood-soul energy erupted, and the 9 of them self-detonated at the same time. No! Everyone from the human race screamed in anguish. Chapter 36-31 9 half-step Divine Venerates self-detonated at the same time. As a result, blood-soul energy erupted and the spatial gate crumbled. The runes that made up the spatial gate were demolished. When the spatial gate vanished, it never reappeared again. At the same time, the 9 half-step Divine Venerates that vanished with it were also gone forever. Dino, Guo Ran wept. Shui Yifan had blessed him with his favor and had shown him his care. But he had known about it too late. Other than Long Chen, it was Shui Yifan who cared the most about Guo Ran. He had been constantly secretly looking after and helping him. However, Shui Yifan was now gone. In order to destroy the spatial gate, such a virtuous and important person was left without even a corpse to bury. Ah! Guaran suddenly let out a beast-like roar. "Brothers, avenge our seniors! Slaughter these brutes! Kill!" The human race's warriors echoed his roar. Flames almost burst out of their eyes, and they clenched their teeth so hard that their gums almost bled. The only thing that could cool them down was to kill. At this time, their lives were the least important thing to them. What they wanted was revenge. If they couldn't cut off their enemies' heads, they would probably die of their own rage. The deaths of the 9 seniors fully ignited the fighting spirits of the human race. They became madmen, throwing themselves at the all-devil race's experts and the devil beasts. Boom. At this moment, a huge explosion suddenly shook the battlefield. When a giant tear appeared in the void, Long Chen and all-devil Tianai appeared once more, flying out of that chaotic space. "You want to save those old fogies? Keep dreaming." All-devil Tianai pointed his staff at Long Chen. Long Chen's expression was dark at this moment. The killing intent in his eyes had almost condensed into physical form. He had to fight at full power against all-devil Tianai. The latter was too powerful, stronger than any opponent that Long Chen had previously encountered. But Long Chen still kept an eye on the entire battlefield. When the spatial gate appeared, he immediately had a bad feeling and wanted to go out to destroy it first above anything else. However, all-devil Tianai read his intentions. Using some divine ability, he threw space into chaos, stalling Long Chen. When Long Chen finally pierced through his divine ability, it was too late. He couldn't save Shui Yifan, the Celestial Essence Sex Patriarch, or the others. "Boss." Seeing Long Chen come out, Guaran cried out and couldn't stop his tears. He felt himself to be completely powerless. He couldn't do anything. Long Chen was enraged. Glaring at all-devil Tianai, he shouted, "I misspoke before. I said that your all-devil race would have to offer tributes to the human race every year as you survive off of our mercy. But I, Long Chen, hereby swear to all gods and devils to erase the all-devil race from the 9 heavens and 10 lands. Erase the all-devil race from the 9 heavens and 10 lands. Erase the all-devil race from the 9 heavens and 10 lands. Erase the all-devil race from the 9 heavens and 10 lands." Long Chen's final words resounded throughout the 9 heavens, to the point that the 10,000 Daos resonated with them. It was like an imperial edict spreading throughout the 9 heavens and the Yellow Springs. This oath caused the world to change color, to cause time, both past and present, to quiver. This was a terrifying oath. All the all-devil race's experts felt their hearts pounding as an indescribable fear swept through them. Long Chen was enraged. He had killed countless life forms in this lifetime, but no matter how heinous his enemies had been, no matter how they had enraged him, he had never done something like eradicating an entire race. He had always believed that every race had both good and bad people. The person had to know respect. He greatly disliked those people who always said that they would wipe out a person's entire race and family. Find the original at com. However, it was precisely because Long Chen had always left other people a chance to redeem themselves that he ended up pushing himself to the verge of destruction. If he hadn't received Ant Gong's pointers in the heavenly flame world, he would not be able to keep his heart clear. He had given some of the bad people a chance to change their fates. But this ended up causing countless good people to be thrown into danger. Ant Gong had told him that he could act according to his own heart, and then bestowed him the golden lily seed, allowing him to place down the burdens in his heart. He didn't need to keep questioning himself or hyper-focus on the process. He just had to look at the result. That was why Long Chen had directly given the order to kill the people questioning him. He knew that some people were simply manipulated into doing it. Their innate characters weren't necessarily bad. If it was before, he would have given them a chance. But this time, he directly hardened his heart. When did this world ever have so many innocent people? Even if they were innocent, their actions caused others harm. It was precisely due to innocent people like this that Xia Guhong was forced away. Xia Guhong had been unwilling to subdue these innocent people, and that resulted in countless years of battle, in the deaths of countless innocent people. The current Long Chen could see further than before, and his heart was harder. Even so, Shui Yifan was an elder whom he greatly respected. For him to be unable to save Shui Yifan, the flames of fury in his heart erupted. Because of it, he directly made such a merciless oath. Big words. I think I'll let the all-devil race exterminate your human race instead. Long Chen's oath caused even all-devil Tianya's heart to pound. He furiously roared, "Do you think that this is my full power? You little human, you can never imagine just how powerful the great all-devil race is." Supreme Bone. Suddenly, all-devil Tianya's right arm began to shine. After that, the flesh on top of his arm vanished and a black bone appeared. It was covered in tiny, dense runes. Every single rune was as small as an ant, yet they covered his entire arm. When this black bone appeared, the entire world grew heavy, and a terrifying pressure came from that black bone. Ripples then spread from all-devil Tianya's body. At this moment, Guoran and the others felt an irresistible power flow out toward them. It was like they were on a raging sea and couldn't stop themselves from being forced back. The devil beasts were also pushed back by that terrifying power. There was no way for anyone else to approach where Long Chen and all-devil Tianyi were. They stared in horror at all-devil Tianya's arm. That black bone was like the arm of a fiend clutching their throats. They couldn't breathe. For some unknown reason, when they looked at the current all-devil Tianyi, they couldn't help feeling like they couldn't win. It didn't matter how staunch they were. They felt despair. Supreme Bone. Long Chen's heart pounded wildly. His gaze instantly sharpened. The immortal world also had experts with supreme bones. Chapter 36-32 All-Devil Tianya's arm emitted a blinding light and was covered in dense runes that unleashed endless power. It was as if its power could truly destroy the entire world if it was unleashed. Do you see? This is the Supreme Bone. It possesses the power to control an entire world's power. It isn't something ants like you can comprehend. All-Devil Tianyi looked at his black arm with a proud smile. Boom. Just like that, he smashed the air with his black arm. As a result, the void could not contain his power and collapsed. The wall of the world was broken, creating a black hole that sucked countless corpses, rubble, and broken fragments into it. It was a horrifying sight. Is this power something that ants like you can compete with? All-Devil Tianyi sneered at Long Chen like an undefeatable devil king. Just what kind of power is this? Just as people's killing intent was raging to avenge their seniors and their fighting spirit soared, this one move from All-Devil Tianyi was like a bucket of ice over their heads. Their desire for revenge was mostly extinguished. This was the result of a level of power that simply caused despair, a power that could not be matched or imagined. Whether it was the human race or the devil beast army, they all stopped fighting and simply stared at the two of them. So the immortal world also has a kind of supreme bone. In the mortal world, it slumbers, accumulating power. It only sprouts under the immortal world's laws, unleashing its real power. Long Chen eyed All-Devil Tianya's black bone arm. This novel is available on poread.com. He finally understood that he had underestimated the supreme bone. He thought that it was just some bone of talent from the mortal world without much use. Now that he saw All-Devil Tianya's black bone arm, he instantly understood that the supreme bone would only display its true power in the immortal world. Supreme. It was an expression of peak talent. Even though Long Chen had gone through the High Firmament Academy's books, he had not read anything about supreme bones. In other words, a supreme bone was related to the mysterious workings of the heavenly Daos. It could not be recorded on paper. Long Chen instantly thought of his own supreme bone that had been taken from him. Back then, he hadn't killed Long Outyin in hopes of using the latter as bait to find his parents. But Long Outyin was taken away by people not long after ascending. Furthermore, it was said that his entire family had moved. Thinking about it, it was likely due to his supreme bone. The Long family definitely didn't dare to tarry when it came to a genius with a supreme bone. Good thing I didn't kill him back then. Otherwise, the talent that my parents bestowed on me would have been lost. It seems that I'll need to think of a way to take back what is mine, muttered Long Chen. Long Chen's hatred for Long Outyin was at the very peak. Back then, Long Chen had almost torn him into pieces. But in order to search for his parents, Long Chen had left him alive. Now it seemed that this decision was extremely correct. His spirit blood, spirit root, and spirit bone were still being nourished in Long Outyen's body. Whatever power that had picked him up would nourish his talent, and the next time Long Chen saw Long Outyen, he would pluck the talent that they nourished. Are you so scared that you're talking to yourself? Ha! Humans are simply an inferior race. In front of absolute power, you can only kneel on the ground and beg for mercy. Well, go ahead and beg. I want to see just how wretched the human race is. Seeing Long Chen muttering to himself as he eyed his black arm, all Devil Tianai laughed. It seemed as if he had absolute control now, and he coldly overlooked the entire battlefield. He was in no rush. It seemed that he was enjoying people's expressions of despair. People truly were terrified and felt despair. They didn't know what a supreme bone was, but as experts, they could clearly sense that all Devil Tianai possessed a violent power as vast as a sea. This kind of power could destroy the entire world, and they were no different than ants in front of all Devil Tianai. In front of this absolute power, any schemes and plans were nonsense. There was nothing that smarts could do. The only thing that they could do was wait for death. Everyone, start secretly recovering your energy. Prepare for the final battle. Gua Ran transmitted orders to everyone. Is there a need for this? Leng Hui bitterly smiled. In his opinion, everything was already over. What bullshit are you spouting? My boss is unrivaled. I told you to recover, so focus on recovering. We still need to avenge the Dean and the others, right? Gua Ran glared at him. Hence, everyone started secretly recovering their energy. They could only place all their hopes on Long Chen now. Standing in the air, Long Chen looked at all Devil Tianai. In front of his provocation, Long Chen calmly said, "You fought me for so long because you were storing up energy to activate this supreme bone?" Correct. The supreme bone can normally only be summoned at the Devil King realm. My realm isn't high enough. Hence, if I want to activate it, I must push myself to the very limit before I can awaken it. The supreme bone's power is something that you cannot imagine. Even I, if I were to directly summon its power, would be directly blasted apart simply due to how powerful it is. Now do you understand the difference between us? Asked all Devil Tianai. These words pushed people further into despair. Even someone as powerful as all Devil Tianai would need to raise the power of his physical body to the very peak before he could control this power. Then just how terrifying would it be once its power was unleashed? Long Chen rested the Minghong saber on his shoulder. That one action caused Gua Ran's blood to blaze excitedly. Watch closely. Boss is about to go all out. You mean that Boss Long Chen still isn't fighting all out? Xia Luer, Leng Hui, and the others were astonished. Isn't that nonsense? If all Devil Tianai wasn't going all out, how could Boss have used up all his power? Just remember this. In this world, there is no one that can defeat Boss within the same realm, declared Gua Ran proudly. He had even more confidence in Long Chen than Long Chen himself. Long Chen took a few steps forward. It was like he was leisurely walking through his own courtyard. No one knew what he was thinking. As he walked, he said, "That means that your way of thinking is the same as mine. I also have a kind of power that I can't fully control. I only dare to use it once the warm-up is over. Otherwise, even before I kill my enemies, my own body will be unable to endure it. In truth, I really hate myself for not being able to finish my warm-up sooner. Otherwise, you would already be one of the souls killed by my saber, and those seniors wouldn't have had to die. Well, saying that is meaningless. Right now, all I can do is use your life as an offering to their spirits. Prepare yourself. I'm coming." Long Chen's speed suddenly accelerated. He was like a bolt of lightning shooting at all Devil Tianai. At this moment, his Minghong saber rumbled and 999 stars lit up on its blade as brightly as the sun's. Chapter 36-33 Long Chen was as quick as lightning, his Minghong saber slashing down with the power of the stars. And, today I'll show you a power that you couldn't comprehend even if you cultivated for 100,000 years. Support us at Calm, all Devil Tianai sneered and raised his staff. It actually merged with the runes on his arm and smashed toward Long Chen. Boom. A huge explosion turned the world dark, making people lose their vision. They then felt space twisting around them as if they would be twisted apart. After that, many of them hacked up blood. Everyone was horrified. Even from such a distance, while wearing their battle armor, they were unable to fend off that strange force. When their vision was restored, they saw Long Chen slashing at all Devil Tianai once more. That scene was the exact same as before, as if the previous scene was repeating. Seeing this, people were flabbergasted. They couldn't tell if this was simply a misperception on their end or something else. Could it be that such a terrifying attack did not require any recovery period in between? Boom. An even more intense explosion shook the land, and it was even louder than before. They couldn't see any chi wave or a single ripple, but they felt like their physical bodies and souls were struck by a meteor. It felt like they would be torn apart. Everyone retreat into the city. Guoran suddenly shouted. Countless people were injured, so without hesitation, they immediately retreated. Once they were all inside the city, through the formation, they watched the distant battlefield. Right now, the battlefield was already littered with corpses. Countless devil beasts had been killed by the shockwaves, so even the all-devil race's experts were retreating in terror. Suddenly, a saber pierced through the dome of the heavens like a celestial blade. It pierced through this world that was covered in devil chi, and people could see through the hole left in the sky by that saber. From the hole, they could see endless stars. This saber pierced directly into the starry sky. Raise the power of the formation's defenses to the peak, roared Guoran. The entire city quivered. Over 1,000 barriers appeared in the blink of an eye over the city. Bastard, you were tricking me. All Devil Tianai roared furiously. After exchanging 2 blows with Long Chen, he realized that while Long Chen seemed to be attacking with these 2 blows, he was actually defending. The first blow's power was absorbed by his second blow, and his second blow's power was absorbed by his third blow. This third blow was his true killing move. The first 2 were nothing more than preparation for the third blow. When he realized it, Long Chen's third blow had fully locked him down. Most terrifying of all, there were some stars in the starry sky above the heavens that were brighter than the others. They illuminated the giant saber image that already had 999 stars shining on it. It was as if those stars were resonating, causing it to unleash endless power. Idiot, it was clearly you who felt yourself to be a badass and refused to use your full power. The moment you wanted to play a game of cat and mouse with me, you already lost any chance to win. All that awaits you is death. I will use your head as an offering to those warriors that sacrificed themselves. Long Chen's killing intent was icy. Suddenly, a pair of wings appeared on his back. One was made of flames, and the other was made of lightning. The lightning and flames weaved together, giving off a strong contrast. They made Long Chen appear like an unbeatable battle god. Before the saber even slashed down, the terrifying power already caused the 10,000 Daos to wail. Even heaven and earth felt terror from this power. The stars above the 9 heavens shone brightly, giving the saber endless power. Long Chen was the undefeatable battle god of the starry sky, in control of the power of the stars. 1 saber and 1 man, both overflowing with killing intent. With the starry sky above him, there was no way to describe just how he looked. At this moment, the people in the city had this image deeply imprinted in their minds. They would never forget this scene for the rest of their lives. Guoran shouted in excitement. This image was precisely his impression of Long Chen. This was an image that no one else could match. The Starry River warriors looked at the starry sky up above. Right now, the Tao seemed to flow into them, and their hearts grew clear. Many aspects of the starry river of the sky art that they hadn't understood before were now clear to them. They looked at Long Chen with absolute reverence and worship. Long Chen had taught them the starry river of the sky art without expecting anything in return. That magnanimity was just as vast as the generosity of the stars in the sky. It was a realm that they could never hope to reach in their lifetimes. Long Chen had opened a path for them, letting them see a vast world. In their hearts, Long Chen was a true god. Suddenly, the space around all Devil Tianai began to crack. It seemed that he was under such terrifying pressure that the world could not contain it. His body began to quiver. It's just an aura lock, but all Devil Tianai can't endure it. He's definitely dead. Xie Luer cried out excitedly. At this moment, all Devil Tianai's body was quivering, and his staff and supreme bone were shining. His expression was one of shock and rage. Inferior human, all you know is how to scheme. Do you think that's enough to defeat a mighty supreme expert? Keep dreaming. All devil blood sacrifice. All Devil Tianai roared. Suddenly his left hand formed a strange seal. Seeing that seal, the city's people cried out in shock. Since when did the all-devil race know how to form hand seals? In all their years of fighting the all-devil race, no one had even heard of them using hand seals. As he formed hand seals, the all-devil experts in the distance began to explode. It had to be known that even after all the fighting, there were still millions of them. As the all-devil experts exploded, the devil beasts simply lay there, their bodies withering. Their blood chi was sucked away by a mysterious energy. This sight gave others chills. This technique was terrifying. He was sacrificing his own people. As the all-devil experts and devil beasts died, blood light surged into all-devil Tianya's arm, which emitted a blood-colored light. His power then erupted like a volcano, crazily climbing. After absorbing endless blood chi energy, all-devil Tianya's body began to grow. He grew until he was a giant dozens of miles tall. After that his staff rumbled, growing with him and emitting blood-colored flames. Die, you inferior human! All-devil heaven subduing strike. All-devil Tianai roared. His staff shattered space as it smashed toward Long Chen. Die, you filthy devil! Split the heavens three! Long Chen also shouted. All of his power poured into this one attack. This attack would decide victory or defeat. Chapter 36-34 Heaven and Earth collapsed, and the 10,000 Daos crumbled. The staff swung through the air with black chi surging around it. As for the Minghong saber, it was covered in specks of starlight. Both divine weapons contained the full power of both wielders. Moreover, the two of them didn't hold back in the slightest. This was not just a clash of power but also a clash of wills. At this moment, neither of them could hesitate or feel afraid. Otherwise, the slightest opening in their mental states would cause their wills to instantly collapse, leading to defeat. One was a supreme heavenly genius of the devil race, and the other was a peak expert of the human race. Both of them possessed undefeatable wills. But in this exchange, only one could live. Time seemed to move slowly. The people in the magnificent heaven city clenched their teeth and their fists, watching as the staff and saber slowly smashed into each other. This was not just the attack that would decide life and death for Long Chen and All-Devil Tianai. It would also decide whether the human race could survive in the All-Devil star field. Hence, everyone's heart rose into their throat. Boom! The Minghong saber slashed at the staff with the will of split the heavens. Both of their powers erupted. The moment the two weapons touched, a sphere of light erupted between them. It started off only the size of a fist, but then instantly grew to encompass all of heaven and earth. It was like a sun exploding. Suddenly, the world turned silent as if it had lost all sound. Time seemed to come to a sudden stop, and people felt like they were floating within the void. Following that, intense quakes made them feel like the world had been flipped. They then saw a rain of light. The light was chaotic, creating random currents within the void. It was as if the world was rolling, that the 10,000 Daos were being overturned. At this moment, the magnificent heaven city rumbled and its barriers were constantly exploding. Cracks appeared throughout the city. Fortunately, with the defenses pushed to the very max thanks to Guarant's order, they weren't instantly wiped out. Not good. The dragon veins have been destroyed. A panicked cry rang out. The formation's defenses were built on top of the dragon veins. With the dragon veins destroyed, the formation also lost its power. Defensive battleships, get into formation. Protect the commoners. Guaran quickly reacted. Boom. Suddenly, the magnificent heaven city that had lost the support of the dragon veins exploded. Fortunately, just as it exploded, the battleships unleashed protective light, just barely covering up the commoners in time. Astral winds raged. The blinding light slowly faded, and by the time people's vision was restored, they could no longer recognize the world. This place was now a wasteland. At the center of the battlefield was an enormous spatial crack. It simply sat there, neither devouring nor spitting anything. It was like a simple cut left in heaven and earth. The laws of the heavenly Daos could not heal that scar. Don't stop the protective formation. The runes of the battleships began to waver, causing Guaran to suddenly shout. Maintain the formation. Otherwise, the remnant killing intent will instantly wipe out the majority of the people in the city. Guaran's words caused countless hearts to shake, especially the people who had thought that the battle was over and were thinking of saving some resources by bringing down the defensive state of the barrier. They were so terrified by Guaran's words that they didn't even dare to move. The vision formation was quickly activated. After that, they found a figure within that spatial crack. It's Boss Long Chen. We won, we won, we won. When they saw that figure, people wept out of joy. Long Chen hadn't disappointed them. I already told you that Boss is unrivaled within the same realm, said Guaran proudly. In truth, Guaran had also been scared just now. All Devil Tianai was absolutely terrifying, and that supreme bone was a heaven-defying existence. It was his first time feeling like Long Chen could lose to someone in the same realm. However, Long Chen hadn't disappointed him. The All-Devil Starfield's commoners were crazily chanting Long Chen's name. Their gratitude toward him had reached a level that could not be expressed with words. Read the most.d version of this novel and other amazing translated novels from the original source at com. Lives were precious, but many people didn't understand just how precious they were until they faced death. Only then did they understand just how beautiful living was. At the same time, they understood just how much courage it took to risk your life and bleed to drive away evil. Right now, Long Chen was covered in blood, and his robes were in tatters. His blood slowly dripped down, but he still stood tall and straight, like a mountain within a sea, an immovable existence. However, he was definitely in a terrible state. His lightning wing and flame wing were gone because Lei Linger and Hua Linger had entered a deep slumber. This attack had exhausted all of their energy. Long Chen had not used their power all of this time just to prepare for this attack. Everything went as planned. The more abundant his violet qi, the more astral energy he could draw in, and the greater the power he could control. But at the same time, the backlash grew. Thus, in order to be sure of victory, he had Hua Linger and Lei Linger share the backlash with him. That was a fortunate decision, as otherwise, the backlash would have severely wounded him. Suddenly, the earth quivered and bulged. As a result, the cheers were cut off and people stared in horror. All Devil Tianai didn't die? However, Long Chen's expression was calm. He walked forward a few steps and suddenly stabbed the Minghong saber into the ground. A giant figure was lifted out of the ground. It was All Devil Tiany's body. After being stabbed, his body began to shrink. In the end, he became the size of a normal person. All Devil Tianya no longer appeared indomitable. His body was a pulp of flesh and blood, and his bones were shattered. Right now, his body was like mud, and his aura was beyond weak. He was already on the verge of death. This blow from Long Chen didn't just destroy his physical body, but it also destroyed his spirit, his will. Even if Long Chen let him off now, he wouldn't be able to live after this. This was a battle of experts. It didn't leave any room for retreat. He could accept death, but he couldn't accept defeat. Inferior human race. Just wait. All Devil race doesn't just have one supreme. Just wait for death. All Devil Tianya's gaze was no longer focused, and yet he still forced out a sinister smile. His words were like the devil's curse, giving people chills. But Long Chen calmly said, "It doesn't matter how many supreme geniuses you have. I'll kill as many as there are." Regretfully, you won't see that day. Sorry, but can you die faster? I have to keep my word. Your head will be an offering to the fallen warriors, and they are waiting for me. I don't want them to wait too long. Long Chen then swung the Minghong saber across all Devil Tianya's neck. His head instantly separated from his body. Chapter 36-35 All Devil Tianya's head was cut off, and the fire of his soul was fully extinguished. A generation's supreme genius died just like that. All of a sudden, the sky darkened and rain fell from the heavens. It was like even the heavens felt sorrow for the fall of such a genius. Boom! Long Chen snorted and stabbed the Minghong saber into the heavens, blowing apart the black clouds. Are you his dad? You're going to feel sorrow for him? My human race lost millions of good men on the battlefield, but I didn't see you feeling any sorrow for them. As the spirit of the world, you can't differentiate between good and bad. If you anger me, don't blame me for erasing you from within the 9 heavens and 10 lands. Long Chen roared at the heavens. The black clouds receded and the rain vanished. It was just like they were afraid of Long Chen. The world once more became clear and bright. The sun was shining brightly as if nothing had happened. However, the void here was still wrecked and had yet to repair itself. That showed what had happened here. Guoran, Xia Luer, Leng Hui, and the others came to Long Chen's side. Although all Devil Tianai was dead, even now, 2 clashing wills from their final attack could still be sensed hanging in the air. Thus, just by standing here, their souls felt sharp pains. The mental pressure was alarming. Only now did they comprehend just how terrifying that final exchange was. Boss, I want that arm. Guoran eyed all Devil Tianya's corpse. All Devil Tianya's bones were all shattered, and only that one arm was fully intact. In fact, it wasn't even the slightest bit damaged. While his divine staff was shattered, his arm was fine. This was a supreme bone. Take it. This supreme bone can be nourished within the body. However, how to nourish it is something that we'll need to study in the future. Long Chen nodded. If it was Gu Yang, Li Qi, Song Mingyuan, or the others who wanted this supreme bone, he would not agree. He would worry about them depending on this bone and losing sight of their own cultivation. However, when it came to Guoran, he relied entirely on things other than his own efforts at cultivation. This supreme bone was most suitable for him. Guoran was overjoyed and immediately swaggered over. When he picked up the supreme bone, he found that its body was like black jade. It was heavy in his hand. Although its runes had gone dark, it still gave off a suffocating pressure. Guoran carefully took out a jade case and put it away. He was full of anticipation. If he could truly equip this arm, wouldn't he have all Devil Tianya's terrifying power? Adding on the support of his battle armor, he didn't even dare to imagine it. At that time, who could possibly be a match for him? Leng Hui took all Devil Tianya's head. He said, Boss Long Chen, let's go. This battle, we've lost so many people. We'll use this fellow's head as a sacrifice to those heroes. Xia Luer, Tu Hu, and the others' eyes also reddened. They thought of their dean that had died in battle. They thought of their brothers that had fought alongside them. Of the 360,000 Starry River warriors, only 150,000 remained. Over half of them had died. As for the losses of the experts from the various sects, there was no way to count them. Let's go. Long Chen took a deep breath. He also felt sorrow. However, he knew that this was the reality of battle. It made people feel profoundly powerless. Even so, the nice surprise was that while the magnificent Heaven City was destroyed, the Heavenly Dragon Domain and the Celestial Essence Domain were perfectly intact. All Devil Tianai had directly led the army to the magnificent Heaven Domain. Perhaps it was because he had simply been too overconfident and never cared about destroying the human race's cities. Not wanting to waste any time, he had come straight to their final stronghold at the greatest speed to finish his trial. The homes that people had abandoned were now regained. Countless people felt hundreds of different feelings. Perhaps this was the fortune within misfortune. Other than the magnificent Heaven Domain, the majority of the human race's homes were intact. It was their greatest consolation. After all, these buildings, this territory, these sects, They were all their homes. The home was where the soul could be at peace. Long Chen quickly gave orders for everyone to rest for 24 hours. They had to fully repair the battleships and battle armors as quickly as possible. After 24 hours, the human race's army once more gathered. It went without saying that the human race's unity was now at an unprecedented level. No one questioned Long Chen's orders in the slightest. With their army gathered, Long Chen directly led them into the depths of the All-Devil Starfield. They came all the way to the Devil Sea. This was the end of the All-Devil Starfield. There was a giant spatial gate above it. Terrifying devil chi came from this spatial gate. The gate was constantly quivering as if something terrifying was going to come out at any moment. We came at just the right time. Guaran, are the preparations complete? Asked Long Chen. Hee, we are ready long ago, chortled Guaran. Do it. As Long Chen waved his hand, tens of thousands of battleships unleashed cannonballs directly at the spatial gate. The cannonballs exploded, unleashing terrifying spatial energy currents. After a round of cannons, the spatial gate began to shrink. It went from being millions of miles wide to ultimately being only a few dozen meters wide. In the end, hundreds of experts took out talismans and stuck them on top of the gate. The quivering spatial gate was instantly sealed shut. It was like the mouth of a beast that had been bound. It no longer made the slightest sound. When the spatial gate was sealed, all the experts let out heaven-shaking roars. Victory! This was a true victory. The entire All-Devil Starfield was now theirs. Dean Yifan, Long Chen has accomplished our promise. You can rest in peace. Long Chen looked at the sealed spatial gate and bowed deeply. Following Long Chen's bow, all the other experts were moved and bowed as well. The spatial cannons and the spatial talismans had been prepared by Shui Yifan. Even though he was already dead, he still paved the way for them. He had calculated that when the All-Devil race made their huge invasion, it would put an excessive burden on the spatial gate. It would then be unable to open for another 48 hours. This was the best time to seal the gate. Shui Yifan's calculations were extremely accurate. Based on his plan, Long Chen managed to seal the Devil Gate without the slightest mishap. It was very easy. Long Chen felt great admiration for this dean. He was an elder worthy of respect, wise and far-sighted. Such a person was truly rarely seen. This place shall henceforth be known as the Devil Seal Forbidden Area. There must be people guarding it at all times. Those guarding it as well as anyone who wants to go through must be cultivators of the starry river of the sky art. Anyone else who gets close is to be executed. Long Chen directly turned this place into a forbidden area. They absolutely could not permit anyone to break the seal. Everyone then returned home and built a cenotaph honoring the fallen heroes. The names of all the experts who died in battle were carved onto it. The 9 elders' names were carved in the very first row. After that, all Devil Tianya's head was used as an offering. Other than Long Chen, everyone kowtowed deeply toward the cenotaph. Once that ceremony was complete, Long Chen announced, "The threat of the All-Devil race has been removed. It is now time for us to leave. Everyone take care." When Long Chen cupped his fists at them, countless people's expressions changed. Read this novel and other amazing translated novels from the original source at com. Chapter 3636, Boss Long Chen, you can't leave. That's right, Dean Long Chen, you can't just leave. When Long Chen announced that he was leaving, the crowd exploded in an uproar. Countless people were unwilling to part just like this. You led us to victory. You are the king of the All-Devil Starfield. We can only be united when you are here. If you leave, no one else can unite the people. We'll once more fall into chaos. Are you willing to watch as the human race fights and kills each other again? Dean Long Chen, the All-Devil Starfield is like a pack of dragons with no leader. Our seniors have all died. We need you. It was the elders who saw further than the youngsters and considered more. Even though the human race had won, if Long Chen left, wouldn't the various large powers go down the same old path that they had been on? They might continue fighting for resources against each other both openly and secretly, driving each other to the point of death. Hence, they were all afraid of returning to their old ways. This lesson had been too painful, so painful that they couldn't breathe. Dean Longchen, I'm begging you. Please stay. We will eternally listen to you as a god. Suddenly, countless experts knelt on the ground toward Longchen. Longchen's heart was a bit moved. Seeing all their pleading expressions, his eyes reddened slightly. He was just a man. Those sincere gazes made him feel like all of this had been worth it. They didn't let his efforts down. Boss Longchen, stay. The All-Devil Star Field cannot exist without you. Even Leng Hui was pleading for him to stay. Longchen sighed. I have to leave. Don't make things harder on me. You won't manage to change my decision and will only make me feel guilty. Everyone rise. I have some words for everyone. People knew that Longchen always kept his word. Since the decision was made, they could not change his mind anymore. So, they sadly rose, not wanting to make things harder on Longchen. Seeing everyone rise, Longchen nodded. I greatly appreciate your trust and support. I'm gratified that you can understand and accept me. In truth, I am no hero or some savior. I just know what I have to do, and what I have on my shoulders. I'm nothing more than an ordinary person. Everyone is just an ordinary person. If you say that I am a hero, then in truth, every single one of you here is a hero. You were all willing to set foot on the battlefield. Even knowing that you would die, you continued bravely. Heroes are nothing more than sparks. What you need to do is pass down this spark generation after generation. My ancestors passed the spark to me, and I am now passing this spark to you. There is no need to fear. The human race's will is inextinguishable, and we never lacked heroes. When tribulation comes, heroes will always appear. Tribulations are what reveal the truth about people, both good and bad. Contemptible people will be fully revealed, and heroes will distinguish themselves. What we need are sharp eyes that can differentiate between good and bad people. Find the original at com. I myself am an extremist who executes the bad people and will also sometimes execute some so-called good people who are blind to the truth and are brainwashed by others into causing trouble. The process isn't important to me, it is the result that is important. That is why I killed those people inciting rumors and pushing them on. I also knew that there are some pitiful wretches who were manipulated by others into joining them. Even though they were hateful, they didn't necessarily deserve death. But the heavens did not give me time to bother with that. If time and energy were wasted on them, they would have caused the death of the entire human race here. You also saw just how narrow our victory was this time. We had to pay such an immense price. Every delay could have caused the deaths of countless innocent people. Dean Longchen, it was our foolishness. You were right, we shouldn't have doubted you. People cried out as they wept with shame. Countless people lowered their heads. Quite a few of them had felt that Longchen's actions were wrong. They had also suspected that Longchen had ulterior motives and wanted to take control of the All-Devil Star Field's resources. Now that Longchen said that he was leaving, they all felt indescribably ashamed. They had looked at a noble person through the eyes of a petty person. For them to have thought of such a thing about a hero like Longchen was practically a blasphemy. What made them feel worse was that they thought that the reason Longchen was leaving was due to their doubt. They had hurt him, and that only made them feel more ashamed. Longchen waved his hand. I'm not saying this to prove just how wise my decision was. I'm trying to tell you that some things might look right but not actually be right. Some things might look wrong but not actually be wrong. Whether a decision is right or wrong can only be seen with time. At this moment, it appears as if my decision was correct. But after a few thousand years, or tens of thousands of years, who can guarantee that my decision will still be right? Thus, many times, it is not right and wrong that is important. What is important is knowing respect and gratitude. Do not be consumed by greed. Act according to your original heart. Even if you are wrong, who can say that for sure? Dean Shui Yifan spent tens of thousands of years making plans. His greatest desire was for the human race to survive this battle and have the spark of heroes be inherited by the next generation. Make future generations want to become heroes, make them trust heroes, make them follow heroes. Make sure that the tragedies of history do not repeat themselves. The All-Devil star field now has two bright sparks. One is the will transmitted by the seniors who sacrificed themselves. Their will is something that will never age or die. The other spark is the starry river of the sky art. I hope that it becomes a bright lantern guiding your way. With it, people's hearts will hold righteousness. Let it be passed down for thousands and thousands of years. Although I'm leaving, I trust that these sparks will allow the All-Devil star field to continuously grow stronger and stronger. I saw the figures of countless heroes in this battle. I know that you saplings will quickly grow into towering trees that shield the human race from the storms. Long Chen's gaze swept through the crowd. Their ardent gazes gratified him. Battle was terrifying, but it washed away the sand, leaving behind only the gold. Perhaps after this battle, the All-Devil star field could enter a long period of peace. Boss Long Chen, we definitely won't disappoint you. Lung Hui, Tu Hu, and the other Starry River warriors cried out with tears on their faces. Long Chen nodded. He then patted everyone's shoulder along with Guo Ran before waving goodbye. When they left on a flying boat, everyone watched as it vanished into the distance. After that, countless experts kowtowed deeply in that direction. Everything that they had was bestowed upon them by Long Chen. This battle taught them the value of life, as well as respect and gratitude. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.